ROLAND JOHNSON, come back.
Hello. All right, good morning. The Committee on Parole is called to order. Today is June 3rd, 2026. The time is 8:40 a.m. We have a docket of revocation proceedings this morning, and our first remote location is at the Orleans Justice Center. Would any staff there in the room introduce themselves for the record?
Yes,
Carla Williams.
Francis Abbott.
And at Orleans, Mr. Edwards, are you in that room by yourself?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, well, I need you to sit back up a little bit from the camera. There you go. Now we can see you. For the record, sir, state your name and DOC number.
My name is Justin Edwards, DOC number 761-280.
Yes, and you have counsel this morning. Is Ms. Bronson on with us?
She said she logged in.
She's logging in now, and I do see you have someone else with the Public Defender's Office. Sir, would you introduce yourself?
My name is Everett Offer. I'm a client advocate at the Orleans Public Defender's Office.
Yes, sir. Thank you. And Ms. Bronson is checking in now. I will wait for her. All right, she just signed in. Ms. Bronson, could you introduce yourself for the record, please?
Yeah, good morning. I'm not sure. Can you all see me?
Can't see you, but we hear you fine.
Okay, well, I'll try to fix that. But you all know who I am. So Grace Bronson, on behalf of Justin Edwards, good morning to you all.
All right, good morning. So Mr. Edwards, you're here for a revocation decision. So what I'll do is I'm going to read the allegations against you, and then you'll enter a plea of guilty or not guilty to the violation, the parole condition violation. And then we'll hear from Mr. Offray and Ms. Bronson before we make a decision. All right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you're accused of violating condition number 4, which has to do with criminal activity. And that allegation reads, you failed to refrain from criminal activity as evidenced by your arrest by NOPD on October 21st, 2025 for possession with intent to distribute Schedule 2, possession of marijuana, and possession of Schedule 2 cocaine. You pled guilty February 25th of 26 in the Orleans Criminal District Court to the crime of possession of marijuana, chemical derivative less than 14 grams. So how do you plead to violation of condition number 4?
Guilty.
We have condition number 6. You failed to provide any evidence of employment.
Not guilty.
And then lastly has to do with your fees, and that's condition number 10. Says you're in arrears in the amount of $315 as of March 23rd.
Not guilty.
Okay. So you want to tell us about, well, I'll tell you what, let's hear from Mr. Offray first.
Yeah, how y'all doing? I've been working with Mr. Edwards for the past few months, and I found some inpatient and outpatient substance abuse programs for him. First, we have Restoring Freedom, which is located in Meat, Louisiana. It's a 28-day program that helps guys with therapeutic intervention, group counseling, and case management. Help them see their drug problem, seek it out, find out the root cause, and try to help them on a steady, sober living. Also, when you finish with that, I have an outpatient program called Crescent City Addiction that's willing to help him with the same thing, same kind of thing, to keep him. They meet weekly and with their clients to help them make sure they stay sober. They're always drug testing them to make sure they comply with the program. And they have all kind of other different services, anything else that he may need as it relates to job search and everything. We have the first 72 that's willing to accept Mr. Edwards in their program, where they have group counseling. He's gonna have a mentor. He's gonna have a reentry coach, a guy that's formerly incarcerated that may have done a lot of time, that's been in society for a while, navigate society to help him learn how to navigate it. And he's gonna have group sessions with other guys who are similar situated, may have just came home, or may have been free in society for some time. So we have these things for Mr. Edwards and whatever else the public defender's office that can provide for him and help him with a job search, housing. He have housing with his father, but if he won't like get his own housing, we have people called travelers aid that help people with housing once they free.
Okay, well, thank you. I had missed the restoring freedom part of that packet. I do see it now because I think it's important for inpatient treatment for him.
Yes.
Okay, Ms. Bronson, is there anything you'd like to say to us? We can see you now.
Yes, may fix technical difficulties. Good morning, you all. Always a pleasure to be here. Mr. Edwards has been incarcerated since October 20th on these charges. He pled guilty to the misdemeanor 14 grams of marijuana. This arrest stemmed from him having marijuana on him while he was downtown. We have had numerous conversations since October, and I have seen a huge change in Mr. Edwards' thinking and maturity and drive. He has requested to get that inpatient treatment as well as to have counseling. He has been incarcerated before and knows that this pattern is not what he wants his future to look like. He's in his early 30s and has children, has a daughter, 2 daughters, as well as family support. His father, Jerome Morgan, couldn't be here today because he is flying to DC for a speaking engagement, but Mr. Morgan is an exoneree. He was wrongfully incarcerated at Angola for over 15 years and was exonerated and started Free Dem Foundations with Robert Jones, as well as his own LLC, Jerome for Justice, which I have submitted a letter on his behalf because he could not be here in person. But I did want to make sure for the record and the board that Mr. Edwards does have a direct representation of when a conviction is wrong and when somebody spends a long time of incarceration, but also that to hold himself accountable to things that he has struggled with in order to get that treatment. So Mr. Offray and I have worked with him in order to get that done, in order for him to successfully complete the rest of his parole as well. And I did also want to just briefly touch on the fees. Mr. Edwards, and I've spoken to his mother, who also is in support, but couldn't join this morning. She lives in Atlanta and had been paying his fees even since his incarceration since October, where he was still when he's been in jail. And so that fee calculation is also is incorrect, but also he's been incarcerated since October. So if the date is since March, then that is something that I want the board to reflect.
Okay, yes, thank you. All right, Mr. Edwards.
Yes, ma'am.
So as Ms. Bronson said, you've been in jail or you are classified as a second offender. How much time did you do in jail before?
Before 2 years and 11 months, ma'am.
Did you have any treatment when you were in jail?
No, ma'am.
And I asked that because I see you got out on good time in April of 25, and then by October, here we are again.
Yes, ma'am.
Didn't address your addiction in jail. So how do you feel about the program they've worked out for you?
Yeah, that Mr. Alfred, considered, yes, ma'am, I think that would work for me. I think that it would help me be a better person and be better, just, it would help a lot, ma'am.
Do you want to be sober and
Yes,
clean?
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I don't wanna keep going down the same pattern. I don't wanna keep being just, being not there for my kids. And I just wanna be a better person and just be positive and do meaningful things that's positive.
So what about the employment? Where were you working?
I was working at Nano's, it's a food restaurant. I was like actually doing like everything, like I was just around everywhere helping out.
Yeah, so why weren't you able to provide proof of employment?
I told my parole officer, but when I called down at the office, it led me to the voicemail a lot, and the voicemail was full. But I let him know.
I know, but proof means copy of a check stub or something like that.
Oh, I thought I had check stubs, but if I didn't, I'm sorry that I didn't. I don't know.
All right, I don't have any other questions, Mr. Edwards. Any questions? I don't have any objection to the substance. All right, Mr. Edwards, I think that the Public Defender's Office has worked out a good plan for you. You're a young man, you got a bright future ahead of you if you apply yourself. Now, that is the inpatient program as well as the aftercare intensive outpatient program. So my vote today is going to be do not revoke, or in lieu of revocation, rather. In lieu of revocation, require that you do complete the 28-day inpatient program at Restoring Freedom, and that you then participate in the intensive outpatient program at the Crescent Addiction and Recovery Center and take advantage of the First 72 resources that will be afforded to you. Consider job skills training. I think that would be helpful to you too, so you can support your family.
Thank you so much.
Mr. Tillis?
I concur.
Mrs. Stapleton? I concur. All right. You got to work the plan. It's up to you now. Good luck.
Thank you so much. Y'all have a blessed day.
And we were broke.
All right, good morning, Mr. Johnson. You're still on, you're on mute. I don't know if you know how to undo the, turn the sound on.
Good morning.
Oh, there you are. Good. Can you sit back a little bit, sir, so we can see you good? Yeah, that's much better. We can hear you fine. You don't have to get close to the microphone.
There was somebody else that said that he's still on mute.
No, you're on mute again. Oh, that was someone else that was speaking to us. Okay, I apologize. So Mr. Johnson, you may have to get up and ask the staff to help you with that.
She was rolling.
Here they come. Good morning. His microphone's on mute. All right, we got it, I think. Yes.
Oh,
Thank you.
you know what?
Mr. Johnson, would you introduce yourself? Tell us your name and DOC number, please.
ROLAND JOHNSON, 369977.
All right, I still need you to sit back a little bit so we can see you. You were cut off about right here. That's better. Thank you. You have counsel today. Ms. Pierce, would you introduce yourself for the record, please? I mean, Ms. Perrette, I apologize. You're still on mute. Are you connected to the audio? No, still can't hear you. Oh, now I lost her altogether. Yeah, I still can't hear you.
Because our volumes are not aware.
Is your volume all the way up? No. Can you hear us okay? Yeah, still can't hear you.
Check your audio.
She's gonna log out and try to log back in and see if we can fix the audio. So stand by, we'll be right back.
All right, can everybody hear me now?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Perfect. There we go. I think it was just an issue with my laptop.
Yes, so would you introduce yourself for the record, please?
Good morning, everybody. My name is Grace Perrette. I work with the Orleans Public Defenders as a staff attorney, and I represent Mr. Roland Johnson. I have represented him since his arrest back in December, and it has been a pleasure to work with him.
Great, thank you. We also have from the Public Defender's Office, Mr. Terry Pierce, client advocate, and Mr. Derek Johnson, Roland's brother, who will be speaking, and we'll call on him in just a few moments to do so. So your case this morning, Mr. Johnson, has been assigned to Mr. Tillis, so I'm going to turn it over to him.
Okay.
Good morning, Mr. Johnson. I'm going to read some rule violations and you can answer guilty, not guilty, or with a statement. Rule number 4, you engaged in criminal activity as evident by your arrest on 12/14/2025 by the New Orleans Police Department for the charges of simple crime of damage to property and simple battery. How do you plead?
Not guilty.
Rule number 10, you failed to make payments toward your good time supervision since 11/10/2023 and an arrear of $1,804. How do you plead?
Guilty with a statement, sir.
Okay. Need to go and hear these other people now. All right, we're gonna hear from the Public Defender's Office. Mr. Pierce, Terry.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you all for allowing me to speak for on Mr. Johnson's behalf. We have a plan for Mr. Johnson that will require him to enter a program and the New Beginnings program where he can understand what thoughts of, violation and aggressive moves and, just to help him to control his emotions at times. Mr. Johnson went through a period where he was working and he lost his job. And we all know how the economy is getting. Prices are ballooning. And he was paying his fees at one point while he was working. And when he lost his job, he got a little edgy with his nephew-in-law, and things got a little edgy. But Mr. Johnson been out for over 4 years almost, and he's been exceptional. And we have a plan of entering him into the New Beginnings program that's related right here, that's connected to this building on the 3rd floor. And I've already spoken with the people down there, and I have an application for him to complete right here. And I will help Mr. Johnson hands-on while he's coming into this building to make sure that he's complying and seeing to it that he become a productive citizen as he should be. Mr. Johnson is an elderly. He's no longer, really been out here doing extensive, things that was harming anyone, particularly if he's been doing well. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pierce. We have someone, his brother, Derek Johnson, to speak on his behalf. Mr. Johnson?
Yes. Hello, can y'all hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay, I want to say that I'm the second oldest of 11 children. Roland is the 3rd. He's my little brother. We've been through a lot. We lost our mama, grandmother, and a couple of our siblings, to natural causes. So I want to say that I don't know how it affect him, but I know it personally affect me. I can't speak for everybody else, but I can assume that it kind of messed with him the same way. But as far as him having a chance to come home, I want to say that he do have somewhere to come to. It's a good community. No violence. It's one of my other brothers' houses. he works for a living. I work for a living. There's no drugs, no alcohols, no weapons. It's close by a bus. So if he needed transportation, we do have a job waiting on him. When he get out, um, we all love him. We all my brothers and sisters, we love him. We want to see him home. And for myself, like I think he good with my kids because his parole officer gave him a chance to come out here and spend some time with us for like a whole month. And my children don't like to exercise. He was able to get them out the house to exercise, something I couldn't even do. So he's good with kids. He's good with my children. And I just want to say we do have a plan for to help him if y'all release him back into society. I even got him a brand new phone. We have Wi-Fi. So because I know phones is like computers these days. And if he have a phone, he have access to look for even better jobs, but we already have a job lined up for him.
Okay, thank you so much. Ms. Perrette?
Good morning, y'all.
Good morning.
Yeah, Mr. Johnson, you should, if you're able to mute. There we go. All right. So I think the best part about working with Mr. Johnson, besides his personality, is the support that I've seen rally around him since he got arrested back in December. Mr. Johnson, as his brother mentioned, has a super extensive family and across both Louisiana and Texas. And unfortunately, we were not able to include a letter from Ronald Johnson, who is Mr. Johnson's brother that he'd be living with here in New Orleans upon release. But we're happy to provide that address on the end. At the end, I've spoken to Mr. Ronald about where he's going to be living and this job they have lined up for him. It's a mobile detailing service. So he does have immediate support ready for him immediately upon release. I just wanted to confirm, y'all have received the packet that I submitted on behalf of Mr. Johnson? Okay, perfect. I don't want to rehash every single point of what I had submitted, but I think the bottom line on Mr. Johnson is like Mr. Pierce said, he has spent over 3 years up until the point of his arrest, almost 4 years successfully on parole. I have spoken to Agent Goins, who was working with Mr. Johnson at the time, and he really didn't have issues beyond the fines, and he knew that Mr. Johnson was looking for new employment. He was actually supposed to start a new job right before he got arrested. With regard to the new charges, the 2 misdemeanor charges were both refused by the district attorney's office in January. He has now spent over 5 months on those charges while we've been kind of navigating the parole process. And I understand that the allegations, I understand why they would be cause for concern for the board. But I think that it's important to emphasize a couple of things. The nephew that they were living with, who is the named complaining witness, is an adult. My understanding from conversations with Mr. Johnson, as well as Ms. Brumfield, his partner, is that there was a lot of concern about the fact that he wasn't respecting the fact that Mr. Johnson was on papers. And this argument started out over Mr. Johnson, over the nephew, smoking weed in the house and having drugs in the house. And this is Mr. Johnson was trying to remove himself from that situation. And unfortunately, he did so too late. But what I would point out to the board is that Mr. Johnson, immediately after leaving, he left the situation to cool off, and then he called his parole officer. And I've confirmed this with his parole officer. Neither of them knew that a warrant went out regarding these charges, but Mr. Johnson called Agent Goins. They got him into a halfway house. They got him out of that living situation. And he's been separate from those folks, or at least from the nephew, ever since. Mr. Johnson understands he should have left that situation earlier if it was going to jeopardize his parole. And I think he will speak more to taking accountability for that. But he has a good place to land, and he has been a productive person on parole. With regard to the fees, he understands he should have been working more with Agent Goins to get those fees paid. He did pay fees for about the first year while he was consistently employed at Rouse's, and then he was laid off due to budgetary issues, is my understanding. And so he understands that's a priority. He's going to be meeting with Mr. Pierce. Mr. Pierce is going to be keeping him accountable to keeping that job and making sure that everything is paid as much as it can be on time, that he's reaching out to his agent and to his family if he's struggling. We would just ask that in lieu of revocation, y'all consider doing these check-ins with Mr. Pierce, making sure that he's providing his proof as much as he can. And eventually, Mr. Johnson's goal is to transfer his parole to Texas if possible. I have spoken to Agent Goins about this. He is supportive of that plan. He's been supportive of that ever since Mr. Johnson went and visited Derek and the rest of the family out in Texas. So I think he has both a short-term plan and a long-term plan to be successful on parole. And we would ask that you do not revoke him today. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Any of my colleagues have any questions?
I've got one, and it came up with the fact that the attorney mentioned that you not been around the person that you bit in the face, the nephew. But what about the other complainant? Have y'all been together, your partner?
Yes, ma'am. Me and my partner been together since I've been home, and we've been doing pretty good. We built the place that we live together, and we've been there ever since, and we've been doing pretty good.
Okay, let me read something. So it was that it said when asked by the officer, Ms. Brumfield stated that she and Mr. Johnson have been dating 2.5 years and have lived together for, it says how many months, they have no children, but that y'all do have a history of domestic violence. So even though sometimes the police is not called inside those walls, there can be hitting, pushing, and shoving that's going on that never get reported to the police. And then it escalates to what we had here. So I'm concerned about that, and I do like the idea of the Texas relocation. I'm concerned that, all of this happened, and you said that y'all were back together again. You said that y'all be staying in the same home. And she said to the police that y'all have a history of domestic violence.
Well, I removed myself from the situation, man. Tanisha, we're not together anymore, but there's no bad blood.
Well, that's good. No bad blood, but yeah, even better if you were in another state, then you're not going to get back together or anything, because sometimes two people just don't mesh right, and then it leads to tragedy. So I did want to address that.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any contact with her?
Yes, ma'am.
And I would just note for the board that there was never a protective order put in place with Ms. Brumfield. The protective order was specifically against the nephew. And Ms. Brumfield did write a letter of support for the board. It's in the packet. I just would point the board to that, just so everyone. She had considered speaking, but chose not to today. I spoke to her 2 days ago. She is in full support of him coming home to his family and understands that her home is just not the most supportive place for him. And they both understand, I think, the necessity of moving on.
Okay.
I'm ready to vote.
All right, Mr. Tillman.
My vote today is going to be do not revoke, with conditions that he get with Mr. Pierce on a short-term basis, and hoping that his long-term basis will be with his family in Texas.
Ms. Stapleton?
I agree with Mr. Tillis. Same thing, that your long-term, that you do relocate to Texas. So there's there's no further problems in this situation.
Okay, I do agree. I think the plan worked out by the Public Defender's Office and the New Beginnings Family Services Program will be beneficial. So, and with his brother, right? Is that Ron?
Ronald.
That's
Yes,
where,
ma'am.
Ron Johnson. Okay, so that you, upon release, he's to, you know, they have to approve it, but I'm sure they will. The approved residence with his brother, complete the New Beginnings program while he's working on the long-term plan to Texas. Do you understand, Roland? what
Yes,
we
ma'am.
trying to-
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Okay. Good luck to you, sir. You're not being revoked, but you got some work to do.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Mr. Watson, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, could you sit back some so we can see all of you? There you go. That's much better.
Good job.
Yeah, we can hear you fine. Tell us your name and DOC number, please, sir.
ERIN WATSON, 766-346.
Okay, and you have an attorney this morning. I'd like to ask her to introduce herself for the record.
Good morning again, Grace Bronson here on behalf of ERIN WATSON.
All right, and we have some other folks who are here in support, Mr. Watson. Zeke Wilkes with Rise Collective, your aunt Lavonda Blackwell, and your girlfriend Crystal is here, and they want to speak for you. So we'll call on them shortly to do so. We also have Miss Cheryl Blackwell, who is a victim in this matter. We'll hear from her shortly also. Your case this morning, Mr. Watson, has been assigned to Mrs. Stapleton, so I'm going to turn it over to her. Would you answer her questions?
Hey, Mr. Watson. How are you this morning?
Fine, how are you?
Hey. All right, here are the charges of rule violations against you, okay? Number 2, I will submit to a monthly report on the 5th of every month, you know that, but it says here, On 8/14/2025, Watson absconded supervision and failed to report to the parole officer. How do you plead, guilty or not guilty? And a statement if you all plead guilty. Did you hear?
I plead not guilty with a statement.
Okay. Let's go through them and then we'll come back, okay? On or about 8/14/2025, you absconded supervision and failed to report a change of address. How do you plead?
Not guilty with a statement.
It is alleged engaged in criminal activity on or about 1/19/2026 when you were arrested by NOPD for multiple offenses and warrants. Arresting offenses are as follows: warrant, illegal possession of stolen things, theft, domestic abuse, child endangerment law, domestic abuse, child endangerment. I don't know why it's written twice. Well, because there's 3 children. Domestic abuse, child endangerment law. Simple criminal damage to property, domestic abuse, with strangulation, simple burglary, access device fraud, illegal possession of stolen things less than $1,000, simple battery of the infirmed, theft. On 3/11/2026, the New Orleans District Attorney's Office refused all charges. How do you plead?
Not guilty with a statement.
Pardon?
Not guilty.
Okay. On or about 8/14/2025, you failed to provide documentation of proof of employment to your parole officer. How do you plead? Guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty.
Not guilty. Okay. On or about 8/24/2025, you failed to allow your parole officer to visit you at your residence or place of employment at any time by changing your residence without permission. How do you plead?
Not guilty.
Okay. And then as of 1/20/2026, you have arrears of $885, including a $65 processing fee. Records reflect you have failed to pay supervision fees, which began on 1/1/2025. How do you plead?
Not guilty.
Okay, so let's start with you absconded supervision and failed to report to your parole officer. You want to explain that?
I had moved from across the river to uptown, and I did give her my address. She had came visit me twice. She probably didn't document it, but she came visit me twice at that location because she came from the jailhouse to my house around that time.
Could you sit back, please, so we can see you?
Huh?
Could you sit back in your seat so we can see you? Thank you.
I better hear you. But yeah, she had visited me at the location that I moved uptown twice. She might have been documented, but she had came see me. She had came see me and told me to come on the porch and everything.
Okay, so where did she visit you at?
At 1111 on South Durrell, apartment B.
Okay, so here's the statement. The parolee advising, and this is 1111 South, Unit B, New Orleans, Louisiana. Parolee advised that in September 25, his grandmother contacted law enforcement and subsequently removed him from the residence. The parolee stated that he was thereafter homeless, living on the street. The supervising agent, Anthony, provided narratives from the parolee's former supervisor, Agent Lucian, who indicated that Agent Lucian was unable to make contact with the parolee at his residence at any time during this period of supervision. Probable cause was found that ERIN Watson violated Condition 2 based upon the parolee's failure to contact his parole officer to report his whereabouts. So you said you were there, but yet we have a report that the grandmother called law enforcement, had you removed from the residence, and then you told your officer that you were homeless. So where are we at on this one?
I was homeless. It's just that my grandma, one day my grandma, I ain't had nowhere to take a bath at all. And she had let me come. She let me come that one time to take a bath. But like I said, that's really it. Like that's really it. That I had went over there and took a bath. She might have did call the police, but we had got into a verbal argument. And then that's when I just left the premises. I didn't know the police was called.
So y'all did get into an argument
Yeah,
and you
but it
were there to
wasn't
take a bath. So were you residing there? Why did you have to get permission to go take a bath if that was your residence?
because that's my grandma's residence and I needed to take a bath.
You gotta sit back so we can see you. How about that?
I
There you
got
go.
it.
Oh, you're having trouble hearing. Is that what it is? All right, I'll try and speak up. Just let us know I can't hear you and we'll speak up, okay? So what I'm saying, I'm reading this and what your statement is that you were homeless.
Yeah.
So you weren't in a residence. So how did your agent visit you on the front porch?
Oh, that's before everything happened. That's before everything happened. That was August the 20-something. That when we first moved over there, I was over there by my house.
Okay, but that's August. This thing started in September, okay? As of 8/14, August 14th, you absconded supervision and failed to report, which would be true because you said you had to ask permission to go over there and take a bath. The police were called. So you're saying this is not true, but records show it is. You weren't in your residence and the agent was not able to contact you. So let's go on to the next one, okay? Because you did give me you give me not guilty with a statement. All right, so we're going to move on to the next one. I will live at the address on the certificate. And if I must move from the address, I will get permission from the parole officer. And you pled not guilty to this violation. In response, he stated that he did not have a phone, therefore he had no means of contacting the agent who was the supervising agent at the time. Agent Anthony provided narratives from the parolee's former supervisor, Agent Lucian, indicating that Agent Lucian was unable to contact your whereabouts. And you said yourself you didn't have a phone, so probable cause was found that you violated condition 3 based upon the parolee moving from his address of record without permission and failing to comply with the conditions of supervision as required. It's your responsibility, even if you're homeless, to get in touch with your agent. It is your responsibility.
Take fault for that, man. I take fault for it, but I didn't have a phone and I was homeless. But like I said, I'm sorry about that for not checking in. But but at the end of the day, I didn't have a phone. I was homeless, and I just really I'm really.
So,
I take responsibility for that one, though.
okay. So this one you can plead guilty on, that you were homeless, you didn't have a phone, and you did not check in. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. So now we get to the more serious charges. I will not engage in criminal activity, nor will I associate with people who are known in criminal activity. So the charges by NOPD is you were engaged in criminal activity on or about January 19th, 2026, when you were arrested for multiple offenses and warrants. Arrest offenses are as follows. It was warrant, illegal possession of stolen things, theft, domestic abuse, child endangerment law. There were children present, domestic abuse, child endangerment. There's 3 times listed because there's 3 children. Simple criminal damage to property, domestic abuse battery with strangulation, simple battery, access device fraud, illegal possession of stolen things less than $1,000, and simple battery to the infirm and a theft. And you pled not guilty on that. Can you explain that to me?
Which ones you need me to explain? Which ones?
All right. Okay. So the police report is the children called the police because of the argument. They were frightened. Now, I'm gonna tell you, having been former law enforcement and involved with domestic violence situations, children don't just dial 911 for something like this unless they are really scared. So please explain that to me.
To be honest, we did have an argument, but as far as the children calling the police, I didn't know nothing about that. Like, nobody wasn't hit. I didn't hit nobody. I didn't touch nobody. Only thing me and my girlfriend did was have an argument. And from now, I thought the neighbor called the police, to be honest. But I didn't never know the children called the police. I didn't hit the children. I didn't touch nobody or nothing.
Okay, so here was the allegation that you strangled her. So there was a fight and that you strangled her, which that gives an enhanced penalty because a strangulation is on a lethality accessible chart. That's like the last thing done to a person where they're willing to kill them. You know, pushing somebody, slapping them in the face, but strangulation. Secondly, as the police drove up, a police officer has in his record that he visually saw you slap her. So there was what he saw for sure.
So man, the police.
And then you took off running, right?
That's one thing I said. I took off running because I was scared and I suffer from mental illness that I be thinking that I have schizophrenia, bipolar and stuff like that. But I'm thinking when I thought he had pulled the gun out on me. That's the only reason why I ran. And the car was running. Running. I wound up running on the train track and losing my leg.
I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sorry.
I was amputated from my knee up.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you, all right, okay, so you're denying everything about the domestic violence charge, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Then you have the cruelty to the infirmed, and that was to another victim, and she was saying that that you pushed her and you caused her to strike her head in a television stand, and that you sprayed her with mace, and she went to the hospital. So can you tell me about that?
That's a situation that they saying happened with me and my grandma, which is not true again. And she's sitting on a television thing that she could state that it wasn't true because when we had an argument, and once we had an argument, boom, I wound up leaving out the house. She left and whatever she did, she had did, but I was sitting outside in the park the whole time.
Okay. He advised that he and his grandmother were arguing when a neighbor contacted law enforcement. Watson stated that upon the officer's arrival, his grandmother falsely reported that he stole her cell phone and wallet. He further claimed that the allegations made against him by his grandmother were untrue. So I do have that statement by you, okay?
Ma'am.
And so that's your statement again today, sir?
Yes, ma'am, it wasn't true.
Okay. All right. I will work a job approved by my parole officer. If I become unemployed, I will immediately report this to my parole officers. On or about same date, August 14th, 2025, Watson failed to provide documentation or proof of employment to the parole officer. Pled not guilty to that violation. In response to this violation, the parolee said that he was unable to obtain a valid identification and reported that he had been denied employment opportunities due to his criminal background. So probable cause was found that condition number 6, based upon your statement that he was unable to obtain valid ID and could not secure gainful employment due to his background. So did you work or did you not work, and did you let your parole officer know all of this?
I let my parole officer know the times that I did go on job interviews, it was denied because of my background of when the times I was going to jail and stuff. But every job interview that I went, I texted in the morning and let her know that I was going to a job interview. Like I would call her off my grandma's phone and let her know that I was going to a job interview. And every time, every time I went, yeah, they denied me of my background. Like I'll make it through the first part, but to see the second part when it's time for the background check,
Right.
they always fail me. And
The felony was held against you? The felony was held against you?
Yes, ma'am. I tried like 4 different locations.
Okay. Well, it was real important. That does happen, but your parole officer has to know what's going on with you, that you are trying to seek employment. And it says, about 8/14/2025, you have failed to allow your parole officer to visit you at your resident or place of employment at any time by changing your residence without permission. The parolee pled not guilty to this violation. In response, he stated that he was put out of the residence again by the grandmother, and you did not have a phone to contact Agent Lucian and was homeless, living on the streets at the time. So probable cause was found that ERIN Watson violated condition number 9 based upon his admission that he made no attempts to contact the parole officer, stating he did not have a phone. Is that the statement that you're making today? Or do you have a different statement?
Ma'am. That's the statement I'm making today, that I didn't have a phone, I was home.
Okay. Okay, and the supervision fees, pled not guilty to the violation. You're in arrears of $884 with a $65 processing fee. Have you paid that, sir? Or are you able to pay that?
She told me she was gonna waive the fee until I get a job or something like that, like, until I could have some type of income to help me pay it. Until then, she said she was gonna waive the fee. But once again, I still was homeless. So once I still tried to get a job, nothing was coming in.
So you really could not, you didn't have the money to pay it because you didn't have a job, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. In summary, victim 1, probable cause was found that you violated number 4 based upon the police report and the victim's initial statement to Florence Police Department. According to the report, the victim stated that the parolee physically strangled her. Additionally, responding officer reported that he observed ERIN Watson strike the victim before fleeing the scene. So that was the finding, number 4, that you were found guilty. Victim 2, probable cause was found that you violated condition number 4 based upon the police report. And the victim's initial statement to the New Orleans Police Department. According to the report, she stated that the parolee pushed her, causing her to fall and strike her head on a television stand. She further reported that you sprayed her with mace on the face and you took her wallet, and that while inside the residence prior to the incident that you left. And then, so that was both of those. Those are your main problems. And then probable cause was found that you violated 10 on the basis of the fact that you could not gain employment. So I'm going to turn it over to, let's see, don't we have, where's my sheet? I'm going to turn it over to your attorney, sir, at this time.
Good morning again. So I wanted to kind of go through because there's a lot of different accusations and violations, and there are both of the reported complainants, Miss Duncan and his grandmother, are both here, and I know have both spoken to the parole board, but also they have made statements prior as well as spoken to myself in this process. Since the day that Mr. Watson was arrested on January 13th, Miss Crystal Duncan, who is present for this hearing, has been in constant communication with myself, as well as the DA's office, regarding the accusations and what is enclosed in the warrant in itself. Those reports, as you will hear from her, there are a lot of false reports, as well as the way that it was written by the police is not correct. Again, none of us were there, but as an attorney, based on what the complainant herself and the alleged victim in this case is saying, the weight of what her truth is and what she says is something that I urge the board to consider in this matter. And you will hear from her directly. The accusations based on that, Mr. Watson, as stated, he said that, he did know that he had a warrant. He had been on the street and had not been in contact with his parole officer. And at that time, when he ran from the police based on fear, based on his also, again, there are documented mental health issues, that he was not on his medication, that I will address in his treatment plan, but that ensued for him to flee. Upon fleeing, he was crossing and got tripped on the train tracks, and a train struck him in his leg, causing him to lose his from his knee down.
Yes, ma'am.
I might have frozen.
Yes,
We can hear you.
We back? Are we back? Uh-oh. Yes. Okay. Sorry. And so Mr. Watson was transported to University Medical Hospital, where his leg was not able to be saved. So he has been in the Orleans Justice Center, going back and forth to the hospital since January. And his left leg is amputated from the knee down. In the allegations prior to that, and I'll just go by the warrants, there were multiple allegations of stolen items that, based on the warrant, my legal expertise, as well as conversations with the district attorney's office in screening this, that also there was no proof of identity. Those items were never recovered. Those items were never specifically attributed to Mr. Watson. And those charges were also refused on March 20th as well. And then the first allegation that involves his grandmother, who is also present, and I've also spoken to, and the board will hear from, also said that she was overwhelmed. She also has mental health diagnoses, and that he had at no point put his hands on her, pushed her, or made her injure herself. And the items that he was trying to receive from her, the keys and the wallet, he was taking to his mother, who is her daughter, in order to return them to her, so those items were not, in terms of the allegations of theft, also were not stolen. And she will also is here in support of Mr. Watson, and will speak to the board as well. So in terms of each of those separate allegations, on paper, there are a lot of charges here. And I have taken the time to go through each one, and I'm more than happy to address specific concerns. But also, it is a rarity in a lot of these cases where there are things written in the police reports or in the warrants, and that the alleged victims in the case immediately reach out to myself, as well as the district attorney's office, in order to, one, clarify or state that the things that are included in it are not true, and also to be in the utmost support of the defendant, and in this case, Mr. Watson, who has been incarcerated since January, and he has a serious life-altering disability now, where he will be able to get disability upon release. He also will be going to Metropolitan, which is a mental health service, to re-enroll. He has had a social worker for most of his life, that he has tracked his medications as well as ensured that he is on those medications, as well as NOLA Detox, which is a substance abuse as well as mental health inpatient facility here in, actually it's in Jefferson Parish on the West Bank. And you will hear from Nziki Wiltz, who knows Mr. Watson, but also is a community member and an advocate, and is able to, and is in direct contact with those services in order to ensure Mr. Watson gets the treatment that he needs as well upon release. So in sum, because there are a lot of charges, based on the allegations and the discrepancies in what the police wrote in the warrants and what the alleged victims are reporting, as well as the district attorney's office refusing all of the charges on March 20th of 2026. I would ask that the board consider all of those in terms of his criminal conduct and allegations. And I do believe, based on the other violations of not reporting, Mr. Watson was living on the street, was communicating with his parole officer, but thereafter, from around August to January, was in violation, and pled guilty to that as well. So I'd ask to consider all of those things, as well as if there's any further questions after hearing from the other members who are here, I'm happy to answer any of those questions.
Okay, well, we'll hear from the other people, and then also you said Metropolitan. Is that like it's an inpatient facility? Is that what that is? Sorry.
Metropolitan does mostly outpatient, like medication management, and all of the like mental health. They are the ones that like set up with like counselors as well. The inpatient is NOLA Detox, which is a 28-day program that have accepted preemptively accepted Mr. Watson. I have had many clients go there and have been very successful, as well as really enjoyed that program. They have a very specific counseling program for people with mental health and who have had substance abuse struggles, as well as homelessness and incarceration. So they kind of have this holistic, robust approach but they are in that facility for 28 days. And then there is an outpatient part of that as well. Metropolitan is through Medicaid and Medicare, and does all of the counseling services as well. And they are also they're another service, but more primarily for mental health.
Okay, so somebody's homeless on the street. They have trouble with transportation. They have trouble even knowing what day it is. And then you add the mental health to it. So that's really going to complicate the problem. And so Metropolitan is a real good thought process that'll help them manage their medicine and everything. But what if, you deal with mental health and disability? He's lost his leg and he has no place to live. Those are the upcoming problems that he's fixing to face, that his reality.
So based on the conversations, as well as with his family and his support, his grandmother, he can live with his grandmother. This prior incident where they have had where she has kicked him out is based on also mental health. And so what she has discussed, and I'm sure she will let the board know, is like what she is doing for treatment as well. But she has raised Mr. Watson since when she spoke to me, she calls him her son. She has been the primary caregiver and is very included and incorporated in his life, and also is now in a place where she does him as well. She has a cancer that also requires, and this is her grandson who would be helping take care of her as well. So he does have stable housing with her, as well as being a primary caretaker for his grandmother, as those the conditions since before have changed, where she does have medical needs that need family assistance.
Okay, well, the grandmother, well, you're down as a victim.
I think, yeah, she is. And then Miss Duncan, Crystal Duncan, is also came on for support, but she's also is the one of the victims as well.
Okay, well, we've got the grandmother listed in opposition. Is she in opposition or support?
She's here.
Oh, so she's here. Okay, well, let's let the grandmother speak, please, since that's where we're talking about him going and different things like that.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Ms. Blackwell?
Yes,
Okay, you've been hearing the conversation. Tell us.
Yes.
You can go ahead, Miss Blackwell.
okay. My name is Cheryl Blackwell. I'm ERIN WATSON grandmother. I raised him up until 15. And like I say, the accusation, it just got out of hand. We really was fussing. And I was trying to get my keys and he picked them up in my wallet and somebody called and he brought it to his mama. But the police had came and when they walked in the house, they said, oh, he got to be a mental patient because he had to, flip the mattress, but it wasn't nothing that I'm afraid of him or he might hurt me. Like I say, I love him. I'm the one that take care of him in jail. If I wanted him in jail, I wouldn't be doing all of this. And like when it get down to the probation officer, Miss Angela, I think it was Miss Lucia, she came multiple times and I would let her know that Erin out looking for a job. She'd say, tell him to call me. And he really didn't have a phone. Sometimes I be put him out because my nerves get bad. He'd be up in there singing and all that. And I put him out. He was homeless for 2 or 3 days, but he always knew he could always come home. He always could come home. And like I say, I really need his support as well as he need mine. I don't think with me sending my money to the jailhouse that I want to see him back in jail. And like I say, the probation officer, Ms. Lewis, but any probation officer, anybody that come to my house, my address is 1111 South Durgin Ward, Apartment B. They will go to 1111 South Durgin Ward, Apartment A. Because when I was in the hospital and I got out, I happened to call the probation officer. And she said, I've been trying to call you. I done been there and put calls in your door. I said, no. I said, I was in the hospital. I said, and plus, you didn't put no calls in my door because when I got home, ain't no calls was in my door. She said, well, that was the only reason why I did what I had to. I violated him because it was no correspondence. I said, well, ma'am, you had to go to the wrong house. My house, anybody that come here the first time, always go to A. My apartment is B. My apartment is through the driveway up the steps. And like I said, I'm waiting on him. I want him home because I need him. He's going on my lease. And like I say, yes, I put him out, but I go back and get him. And like I say, Miss Lucia, me and her always talked. And she said, but why you putting him out? I said, and you go back and get it. I said, because my nerves be bad. I wasn't on my medicine right, but now I'm on my medicine. I have stage 3 cancer. I done had surgery. I done had 2 surgeries. And I go to the doctor at least 3 to 4 times a week. And like I said, Erin Jacoby Watson have a home, and I would never put him out again. Because he will be on my lease, because right now I can't live by myself. My other grandson was living with me, but he moved out.
Okay, Miss. Okay, thank you.
To prove all of that. And like I said, I love him. And I know I don't want to see him in jail because that means more money I got to spend.
Okay, Ms. Blackville, I understand. Can we go? Thank you. Thank you for all your information. I appreciate it. we'll go to Miss Duncan, your girlfriend. See what
I'm here. I have 2% left on my phone, but the statement that the officer made was not true. When they arrived to our home at 2517 St. Anthony Street, Mr. Watson was actually leaving. He did not put his hands on me. He was actually leaving the premises. And when the police pulled up, he did run. He did not put his hands on me.
Okay, well, that's in the police report that he
I
saw him
understand.
strike.
Yeah, I understand that, and I'm pretty sure you know a lot of people is sitting in jail for a false report also.
Let me ask you, speaking of false report, what about, did you make the statements that he tried to strangle you or did strangle you? Because you said almost to the loss of consciousness.
He did not try to strangle me. When the ambulance came, they asked me, did I need to go to the hospital? I told them no. The officer who came on the scene, he also asked, did he strangle me? I told him no. He looked around my neck. He didn't see any marks.
Why did the children call law enforcement? They usually, well, in fact, I've never known them to do that.
My kids did not call.
Uh-oh.
We must have lost
Yeah,
our time.
2%. Oh, my goodness. Oh, well.
I can try to fill in because I've talked to her a lot. But I believe that she did, one of the victim advocates called from the parole board as well. And she's talked to them as well as to the parole officer and Orleans, the NOPD, and she's been very proactive. But what she was about to say, she did her kids did not call. She has based on the age stated in the report, but she has never said that they called the police.
How do you think the police got there then? What caused them to come?
I'm not sure. I didn't, because it was in pre-screening. I never got like the 911 calls or like all of like the discovery in this case. So I'm not sure if it was a neighbor or somebody else that called the police based on the disturbance.
Yeah, because the 911 call is always recorded.
Yes, I have not heard it, so couldn't verify that.
And then, I didn't even bring this out, but they were talking about the police saw, damage to the door and the hinges being broke off and the wood frame, stuff like that. Anything like that?
Yes, Miss Duncan said that the door was already broken. There was a side door and a front door, and the door was already broken. When Mr. Watson was trying to get in, the handle came off, but that the actual frame was already broken. That there wasn't like a intentional damage that she was reporting to the police in order to hold him, like in order to report that he damaged her home.
So you're saying the police showed up, don't know how they got there, and she's saying that everything that they asked her about that she answered yes to, like the questions and stuff like that. Some she said no, but others she said yes. All of that was lies on her part.
Ms. Stapleton, if I was there, I would be able to give you a for sure answer, but based on the information that I have and the conversations that I've had, to the best of my knowledge, that is what I understand.
Okay. All right. Let's see. We have an aunt, Miss Blackwell. Miss Vonda Blackwell, would you like to speak, ma'am? I might have mispronounced your name. I'm sorry. Miss Blackwell? Can't hear you.
You're still on mute.
Still on mute, Miss Blackwell.
1 second.
Okay, we got you. All right.
Okay, so my name is Dolores Watson. I'm his mother. What happened with my sister was she worked for the police department and she thought the Zoom meeting would be between 7:30 and 8:30. So when they called her in at the asked her could she come into work, she told them yeah, because she had they said the shift was starting for 9. So she went into work and she was on the Zoom, but she had to get off because she had made it to work.
All right, so go ahead and tell us, or do you have any words of support? This is,
I do, and I also can answer the question you keep asking, like you was asking about the phone call. What happened was one of the kids did call the mom, or to my knowledge, the mom called at the time that they was fussing. And the mom's, her mother, I don't know her name, but she's staying in another household. So she made the call from her house. She was not at the scene. She didn't really know what was going on. I saw a video too from Crystal, which would be the girlfriend, off the ring bell camera.
Okay.
Crystal explained it to me that her mother made the call. That's why when they posted the once he got hit by the train, and they did post that his age and everything, his age was off. They had him his age at 40 years old, and he's not 40. So it was like the mom made like the call from her house and made the statements herself. So it was like a falsifying. I feel like that's falsifying documents because you're not even there, like, and you calling from your house and you saying things that is not true. So Crystal let me see the ring bell camera. The camera never showed my son, and I'm not taking and trying to help up for him. It never showed that it hit her. It showed when the officers pulled up and everything. And Crystal explained to me after everything happened, her words was, she said, "Ma, I just should have let him left." She said he was trying to leave, but I didn't want him to leave. She said, so that's how we really went to arguing more so because he was begging, saying, "Just let me go, let me go. I'ma just leave." But she followed him. Her and one of her kids followed him outside. The video showed that she had a stick, which she did not hit him with the stick. And it was face to face. It showed that he never hit her or nothing. So when the police did pull up and stuff, I know him. Like, he got scared. He just ran. He just broke out running. But to my knowledge, he never hit her. And like, the argument, yeah, they argue. People argue. They have fusses. But the other things that they're saying about him, like, that's not true. And I know him, like, he could get aggressive at times, but his aggressiveness just come with anger, like him enraged, just hollering and stuff. The hit, come on, no. And it's crazy how I tell him all the time, and it's honestly from my heart. If I could do anything, I really would like to change the change that people may cause, when people is getting into it. And sometimes, because domestic violence is real. And I explain that to not just him. I have 4 boys. I explain that to them all the time. Like, it's real. We can't take that for a joke these days. But the falsifying the documents, him losing his leg, his life, his health is at risk right now. It's just scary right now. And Erin is not no bad person. And when
what we're gonna do right now, I mean, you've spoken in favor of your son, and I appreciate it very much. So thank you very much. We've got to go to the next person, Miss Nikki Wiltz. Thank you, though, very much.
I appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am. Miss Wiltz.
Thank you. Greetings, board. Thanks for allowing me to share again on today. Just wanting to speak on Erin's behalf. I've been knowing Erin for many years, actually since he's been a young man, a very young man. And I want to address or speak to some of the challenges Erin has had. And I would like to address how we can move forward and how I am committed to supporting Erin in all of those efforts. Growing up, Erin and his grandmother, they were very close. His grandmother did take care of him. Erin always was in school and played ball, and the family supported all of that. As he began to age, and I want to say high school years, Erin began to have academic challenges. We saw that he had ADHD as well as some mental health challenges. I saw it. I'm not saying that wasn't one of his diagnoses prior to that. Because of that, I just took a love into Erin and supported him in school, on and off the field, the football field, and beyond that. I'm here today as a community organizer and one of the co-founders of Rise Collective. I was a school teacher prior, 26 years, but now this is my passion and this is what I do. So I want to say that I am committed, as I shared, to making sure that ERIN reentry is put in place, and I support all of those efforts. Rise Collective is dedicated to supporting those that's formerly incarcerated as well as currently incarcerated. We support their families as well and make sure their families are connected and a part of that process. We are committed to making sure Aaron is restored, the whole human. So making sure that he attend the fit clinic. They will also support Aaron with any medical efforts, all of that medical, all of his medical needs. We will make sure he stays a member of Rise Collective, that is a community of members that will support Aaron. We have peer support that will take place that Aaron will be a part of, and I will be committed to making sure he attend those meetings, as well as I have made contact with NOLA Detox, as Attorney Bronson has mentioned. NOLA Detox is waiting on Aaron to, whenever he's allowed to be released, they're waiting on Aaron, and he will be a part of NOLA Detox. That program is an inpatient program, and they will also provide outpatient service to Aaron as well. They will partner with Metropolitan, and we will be supporting all of those efforts. Any other needs that should be addressed with Aaron, I will also be committed in supporting that and making sure that I stay close to Aaron and support the family as well.
Okay, I've got I've got a couple of questions because you do keep using the word committed. And so the commitment is that he was homeless and he certainly did not have transportation to get to anything that was good for him in life. So what is y'all's commitment to oversee that? I mean, he's going to have, let's just say, a 28-day detox, and then Metropolitan is outpatient. So it's like, hopefully we'll get him his medicine. But when someone is suffering from this condition, they're very confused. They need all the help they can get, but not just commitment. Will y'all furnish him transportation? Well, what will you do if you find out his grandmother, I mean, she has an issue also, and they, again, have an episode, the two of them, and he's out on the street. How will you find him a home to stay in? Stuff like that. I mean, because that's his reality too.
And when you mention transportation, transportation will be provided by the Fit Clinic. That's why we're connecting him now with the Fit Clinic. That will be a service that Danielle Metz, another one of our co-founders, so she will, try to step in, and we'll make sure that Aaron gets any necessary appointments. I believe that would be the new resource that wasn't provided before, that we could put in place now.
Yeah, that's crucial. That's crucial.
Yes, the
Getting
Big
this
Clinic does
medication,
provide transportation.
stuff like that. And then for his parole officer to know where he is and everything. All right, and I like the fact that you said you've already been in touch with the detox center, and right, and then Metropolitan, you would be in touch with them. So everybody's gonna have to work together for this to be a successful situation.
Yes, we will do it as partners, community partners. Yes.
Okay, I need an executive session. Good motion. Executive
A
session.
second.
Can you call the roll?
Tibbetts,
Yes.
Bernardson,
Yes. Yes.
So we'll be in executive session for a few moments to discuss confidential matters at 10:13.
Okay.
All right, we are back in regular session. It's 10:15. Mr. Watson, I have a couple of questions of you. And I guess, you know what, I need to, now I'm gonna ask you to sit up a little bit, because now you're too far back and y'all are blurry. I can't see you, I'm sorry. I can't get,
Sometimes I'm bad at the help, so that's why I'm sitting a bit closer.
okay, so, we all understand that this situation occurred and you were not properly taking your meds?
Yes, ma'am.
Why not?
It was like, I'm gonna be honest with you, at first I was off them, and then I told my family that I was doing good when I was on them. When I was back on my medicine, I was doing good. The council was coming to my house. I was making all E's and stuff like that. But it's like the moment, like I had situations that's growing up, it's like I wanted to get back on my medicine. But now that the people in the jailhouse helping me get on my medicine, and I have my mom, my grandma, my auntie, like people that's gonna help me try to get to taking my medicine again. Like I know I'd be much a better person. Like
Oh, I agree, but what I'm trying to get at is why did you stop taking it like you were supposed to?
oh,
Do
it
you
was when I had got out when I got out of school, like I was like 19, 20 going to school. And it's like I had the doctor that I had, his name was Dr. Cochran. He was on Canal Street. He just disappeared from off the one time, like, and I ain't had nobody else to go to. And at the time, me and my family, all us was at a situation we was going through, and I had their jail time before.
So so now that you're in jail, are you back on your meds?
Yes, man. I've been taking my medicine in the morning. They've been giving me medicine in the morning, and they've been giving me medicine for my leg because I've been in crucial pain. At
Right,
night,
sure.
my
So
legs.
if you get out of jail now, are you gonna do what's asked of you in terms of seeing the doctor and taking the medication like you're supposed to?
Yes, ma'am. I'm gonna be honest. I have two daughters that I live for every day, and I'm gonna be honest. Like I can't fail them, and I just want to see them do right. So I gotta be the leader example. I gotta be an example, so I can lead them in the right direction. I don't want them to go down the same path that I went down.
Well, you can't self-medicate. You understand that, right? You
That's
gotta
ma'am.
do it like the doctor says.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I don't have any other questions. I think we're ready to vote, Ms. Stapleton.
Yes. Today, sir, I've listened to everything. We got a lot of moving parts going on here. A lot of it has to do with mental health services, okay? So for you and your grandmother. So today, my vote is going to be do not revoke, but it's going to be with the condition that you connect with Rise Collective. And Rise Collective is going to be working with Metropolitan and then the 28-day inpatient program. And then from that, there'll be follow-up to make sure that you take your medicine and then you get to the appointments that you need to go to. So my vote today is do not revoke, and it's going to be with the condition that you follow up with services.
Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate that.
Mr. Tillis. And Mr. Watson, I do agree. I think you need some help. I think there's a plan in place for now to provide resources that weren't available to you before, or you didn't know they were. So my vote today is do not revoke, require that you do connect with the Rise Collective and follow the mental health treatment plan prescribed by the doctor. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate that.
Thank you all.
That's it? Yeah.
Yes, you're good, Erin.
I had to go home.
I'll come see you. Yeah.
It's always good. All right, good morning. Mr. Walton?
Yes,
What's wrong
ma'am.
with the camera?
Pastor, can you refocus him?
Can you call and see if they can refocus? We're having a hard time seeing you, sir.
Yes, they tried to wipe the camera down, dry it off and give it a better picture, but
Oh, it didn't work. Can you see us okay?
no, ma'am.
You can't see us.
Yes, I can see you guys.
Oh, you can see us, but you're all blurry for us.
Yeah.
Okay, well, yes, that's a little better, but let's, we'll go ahead and get started while they try to call them and see what they can do. State your name and DOC number for us, sir.
My name is Jerome Walton, JEROME WALTON. DOC number is 547-176.
All right, yes, sir, that's what I have. And you have an attorney here with you today. I'll ask the attorney to please introduce himself for the record.
Andrew Fairley from Orleans Public Defenders here on behalf of Mr. Jerome Walton.
Yes, sir. And also a client advocate from the Public Defender's Office, Juan Kikong, cousin Eldridge Fry, and Sophie Rice from the First 72 are here. We also have your parole officer, Agent Frutt, who is here, and we'll hear from him. Yeah, I'm sorry. So, Mr. Walton, your case has been assigned to Mrs. Stapleton. I'm gonna turn it over to her.
Okay, Mr. Walton, I'm gonna read out the rule violations, and then you'll plead guilty or not guilty with the statement, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
You failed to submit monthly reports to your parole officer. That's rule violation number 2. How do you plead, sir?
Can you say it again, ma'am?
Pardon? Say it again?
Yes.
Yes, you failed to submit monthly reports to your parole officer. Rule violation number 2. How do you plead?
Not guilty.
Okay. Okay, and then you failed to remain at the address on the diminution of sentence. You failed to obtain permission to change your residence. You absconded supervision on January of 2025, and your whereabouts were unknown until you were arrested by the Orleans Parish Sheriff's Office. How do you plead, guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, rule violation number 9, to absconding supervision on January 25th, your parole officer was not able to visit you at your residence or place of employment. How do you plead, guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty, ma'am.
Okay. And number 10, you failed to make payments toward your supervision fees, and you are in arrears $1,638. How do you plead?
Guilty with stating.
Okay. All right, let's talk about number 1. You failed to submit monthly reports to your parole officers. Tell me about that. You say you did, but not guilty.
Yeah.
So,
well, in the process of me obtaining job financial statements and everything, I got kind of behind on things that meet the criteria that I needed, and I'd like to apologize to the board for those things.
so did you make your monthly reports, or are you telling me you were unable to do it because there were circumstances?
I saw her. Every time she came around, I saw her. I just didn't sign off on anything for writing it in.
Okay, so listen, you're saying you didn't sign off on anything, and you met with your agent.
Monthly, yes, we met monthly.
Okay, so why did you not sign off on anything?
Like I said before, I got behind looking for stable financial resources, and I got
that would mean you didn't meet with her. You got behind looking for stable resources.
yes,
So,
and I got misled like for not keeping up with that, and I like to apologize to the board for it.
So actually, you didn't meet with her regularly. Is that what that's?
Yes, I did meet with her regularly.
Resources.
Yes, I did meet with her regularly.
I believe that there's just a disconnect in understanding here. I think Mr.
Okay.
Walton is referring to the initial months he had met with Agent Frutt. I believe it was about 10 months. And then afterwards, he had difficulty with his circumstances. And that's, I think that's the core of the misunderstanding. It's also very difficult to hear in that room that he's in. So I suspect that might be the problem.
And that's good. Anytime that you hear something like that, please do let us know, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
That's a good thing to do. Okay, well, let's move on to number 3, that you will not move from this address without permission from your parole officer before doing so. And you will not leave the state of Louisiana without written permission. And so she's got that's been violated, that you moved from your address. Will you please tell me about that? And that it started January of 2025, that was, she's got it down as absconded.
Okay.
So what happened?
From that day on, from when the first absconding started, it wasn't hiding from anyone. It's just that I was misplaced due to my shelter arrangements. Me and my family, we had a disagreement, and things got really emotional between us, and I was asked to leave the property. And doing this, so I had to seek shelter at the Grace at the Green Light, and I obtained what is called a homeless letter to show that I was seeking help for the shelter to my best ability and knowledge in all of the parish, because TAMMANY parish did not have any type of foundation for a shelter that I knew of. So I only seek refuge to the closest place that I knew.
Am I going to understand that actually, from day to day, you were looking for a place to stay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, your attorney, would you like to expand on that any?
Yes.
Did I get that right?
And so my understanding is that initially it was, once he lost his initial housing, he tried to find services and was unable to do so on the North Shore, arrived in New Orleans and linked up with Travelers Aid, which is a local nonprofit that helps people facing homelessness. And they require, I believe, a certain amount of time on the streets before you're quote unquote certified as homeless, before they take you on as a client. That's my understanding. That might be an imperfect understanding, but there is a certification from Grace at the Green Light for his homelessness.
Yeah, I've got here that Mr. Walton was assisted by Mr. Fairley, stated that Walton was homeless, had no place to go, and that he was suffering from mental health issues at the time. Mr. Fairley stated that the subject was in compliance for 11 months after being placed on parole. Mr. Fairley also stated that Mr. Walton was trying to seek out services before his arrest and even after his arrest. He has completed programs to help him get back on his feet. Mr. Fairley stated that they have a release plan ready for Mr. Walton if he's released. Okay, we're going to hear from Agent Frutt now.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So Mr. Walton, I supervised him. He had gotten out in 2024, I believe was his release date. And I was supervising him. When he first got out, he had initially changed residence without permission. I gave him a warning where he lived with his girlfriend, which was not a problem. When they did have problems, he contacted me and told me he was moving back to his mom's house. So he was doing everything at the beginning of supervision. His mother had reported that he did have mental health issues, but Mr. Walton refused to go get mental health services, stating he never took medicine while incarcerated, so he didn't need them. And he was able to hold the job down, so I did not believe his mental health statements were going to hinder his ability to successfully complete parole, because he was able to work, he was able to comply with supervision. It wasn't until October of 2025 I had seen him and everything was going fine. He was still working with Coastal Garbage Company. When I went back to see him in January for his next contact was when I had learned that he had left the residence. Both his mother and his sister had advised that he had they had a disagreement and he had left the residence. They did advise he was living out of a vehicle that the sister had provided him. I believe it was a red vehicle. I attempted to locate that vehicle around Slidell because they believed he was staying by a church that was local to his residence. And to no avail, I was not able to locate Mr. Walton. I did follow up with his mother several times after he absconded to see if she spoke with him. And she did advise that he would call her, but he would not provide a location. So had I known he was in treatment in New Orleans, we could have transferred his case down there or verified that he was in treatment. None of that was provided to me. So I could not do anything further with his case outside of issuing a warrant.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, well, at this time, we can hear from your cousin. Eldridge Fry, please. Yes, sir. What would you say, sir?
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Hey, my name is Eldridge Fry, and I'm Jerome's cousin. I had the pleasure of working with Jerome a couple of times. When he was in Slidell, he worked with me. I picked him up and brought him back and forth to work. Previously, before this, Jerome was incarcerated for a very long time. And he would always state to me how he had these plans and he had these ideas of, how he wanted to be self-employed and how he wanted to make his parents so proud of him, And he always spoke about how hard it was for him with his mental condition, He's a very emotional young man. And every time you talk with him, he sheds a tear because he wants to do better. But because of his condition, it doesn't allow him to do better. When he was in Slidell, he was seeking help in Slidell, but from what he was telling me, he could never find the proper treatment that he needed out in Slidell. So this was his reason for going to New Orleans, because someone had advised him that there was a place there in New Orleans that would take him and would help him with his condition, right? So he went down to New Orleans, and then being in New Orleans, he would call me periodically and ask me, for work. I have a construction company as well as a janitorial service. So I would provide him with work whenever I could get in touch with him or whenever he would call me, right? But every time he would just say that he was applying to these different places, but he would never get no one to call him back. So he was kind of getting discouraged with that. He didn't have anywhere to go. He was homeless. He was living out of a car. His probation officer is right. He was living out of a red vehicle, And it hurted me to see him like that. So anything that I had that came up as far as work was concerned, I would always call and try to find him to see if I could put him to work. So at one point he told me that he had some people that he had reached out to that was going to help him, right? I don't know what happened after that, but I do know that now that he have these people in place as far as helping him with his mental condition, that I think he would be a whole lot better off, because now he have something in place for him and guidance now. Before he didn't have that. So now that he have this guidance in places to go and stay as well, I think he'll be a better person because he works hard. He's a hardworking young man, right? And all he wants to do is, from what he was talking to me about, is stay out of prison, make his mom proud, and do better. Because he did serve a long time the first time in prison, and he always spoke that he didn't want to go back to prison. So,
Well, thank you so much for your input on this, Mr. Fry. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, so now we have a client advocate, let's see, Kong.
Yes, good morning, board. My name is Wan Chi Kong. I'm a client advocate at the Orleans Public Defenders. I'm here to speak in support of Mr. Jerome Walton. And I will just share that he's a really remarkable individual. I'm really grateful to have gotten to meet him. And I just want to emphasize, all the background and the context that you've heard about him already. Much of this was because he didn't have some of the coaching that he needed. As a client advocate, I've been very experienced in service navigation and coordination. So just making sure that the right referrals are in place, that they can actually be facilitated. It seems to me that Mr. Walton did come to Orleans Parish from St. Tammany seeking out more resources. And as a client advocate, seeing exactly how we approached it, there's a lot of areas that, if I had been in the picture, I could have helped him navigate that a little bit differently. I believe Andrew started speaking a little bit about seeking out grace at the green light for housing assistance. And, you do need a certain period of documented homelessness to qualify for a voucher. And he did check in looking for the help, but didn't know exactly how to navigate that through no fault of his, right? It takes a lot of savvy. So I'm excited and hopeful to be in the picture so I can help him navigate these various services. So I would love to talk a little bit about our reentry proposal. For one,
Yes.
Mr. Walton has already been referred to and accepted into Restoring Freedom Recovery Center. This is a facility about an hour away from New Orleans that provides dual diagnosis treatment. So that would be for substance use and mental health. Mr. Brady Sledge has already spoken with me to accept him into the program, and they do a comprehensive range of services. It's going to be individual and group therapy, learning various skills for just having a successful reentry, maintaining sobriety, staying stable, having the medication management that he's already started while incarcerated. And the program is anywhere from 28 days to long-term treatment up to 90 days. And then from there, these qualified counselors can help connect him with sober living, or we can return him to stable housing within the community, depending on what his goals are. But that's something that would be best determined by that counselor who is a medical and mental health professional as he goes through the program. So that would be the first step. After that, after he's focused on his treatment and gained some of the tools and can return to the community, we have some other supports in place. You did hear already from Mr. Eldris Fry, his cousin, who is going to provide employment. There will also be other resources available. The First 72 on this call as well can provide reentry support and case management. And this is particularly powerful, and I will let Sophie and Ms. Tasha speak about this some more, but the case managers there are formerly incarcerated, and so they have specific perspective and expertise and lived experience that can really guide Mr. Walton, not just with, employment and job readiness, social benefits, technology, but also just from mentorship, right? I think what we've spoken a lot about has been mental health and seeking out counseling for, various traumas that Mr. Walton has experienced, so that he can have that outpatient aspect as well once he's done with the residential treatment. I'll also add that there's additional support just from a constellation of case managers, again, that I will help him navigate so that he does have a whole team behind him. So this can range from Mission Rebirth for social benefits assistance. This is something that someone at the jail has actually referred him to because he himself is such an active participant. Like Mr. Walton really has sought out the discharge planning on his own while at the jail. This could also include the Day Reporting Center, can include Goodwill, Job One Restore, and CEO Works. So I'm prepared to help him with all of those things, and I have relationships with all of those organizations. Finally, I'll just say that community support is the biggest piece. You've just heard from one person in his family, Mr. Eldris Fry, but within that parole packet, we do have 7 letters of support from family, from friends, peer mentors, even more remarkably to me, from Lieutenant Glenn Powell and recreational therapist Melanie Zane. Both of these are folks who work within the jail, who've gotten to know Mr. Walton while he's been incarcerated for the past 6 months here at OJC. And they've reported back that he has been extremely helpful on the tiers. He's never, gotten a write-up. He's in fact helped clean the bathrooms, scrub the floors, look out for other people who are incarcerated on his tiers, including 3 people who were in wheelchairs, who needed help with their ADLs, like assisted daily living activities. And in my experience, and I have been at the public defender office for 7 years now, I have not seen many staff make the effort to write a letter of support for someone who's incarcerated from the jail. So I would just love to add that as something that really makes Mr. Walton particularly remarkable to me. And finally, that he has a number of certificates attached to the end of that packet. Again, he's really done everything that he can to work towards self-improvement. In these 6 months, he has earned, I believe, 29 certificates, which is pretty significant. So thank you very much for hearing out our reentry proposal. I'm confident that Mr. Walton can succeed outside of incarceration and be compliant with his parole. I think that he has learned from this experience and is ready to be parole compliant.
Thank you so much, Ms. Khan. That's mental health issues is something that it's very hard to navigate, in some cases impossible without help. And
Exactly. Thank you.
very, very bright people, but they do need their medicine just like anybody else with, kidney problems or anything else. So thank you so much for everything that you had to say. Okay, so at this point, we're going to hear from Sophie Reese with First 72, please.
Hey, yeah, good morning, and thank you to the parole board for the opportunity to speak today in support of Mr. Jerome Walton. As Ms. Wan Chi mentioned, I'm here with the First 72 Plus, which is a reentry organization in New Orleans, founded and run by formerly incarcerated individuals. Our motto is us helping us. And we work to stop the cycle of incarceration by providing adequate support to those returning home from prison. We are eager to work with Mr. Walton upon his release and to support his transition back into society. He would be assigned a reentry coach who is a formerly incarcerated case manager that would guide him through a case management plan by assessing and responding to his needs. So that could include things like setting him up with an appointment with the formerly incarcerated transitions clinic to be assessed by a primary care physician and renew any prescription medication that he's in need of, to complete a behavioral health referral with CADA if needed. And we would also provide him with employment support. So resume creation, connecting him with job training programs, applying him for jobs with the Fair Chance employers, and helping him search for supportive housing. Mr. Walton would also benefit from our weekly reentry 9 Steps to Staying Free class, which invites clients to participate in an open discussion surrounding sticking to their goals, mental health support, managing their sobriety, handling emotions, and much more. So he would really benefit from being surrounded by formerly incarcerated individuals who are committed to staying out of prison and going down the right path. We will also be able to provide him with other wraparound services, including clothing, proper identification, social security registration, SNAP benefits, medical assistance, employment assistance, and housing support. We're eager to welcome Mr. Walton home and to guide him until he is a stable and settled citizen. And if you have any further questions, don't hesitate to reach out to our office. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Well, what a blessing. I'm so glad places like this exist, and then he's gonna be able to come in contact with y'all, because it's hateful. I hate for a person to be lost, in a big world when they're trying to make it, and they can, but they just need help. All right, well, thank you for everything that you said. All right, so let's see now. Mr. Farrelly, is there something that you would like to follow up with?
Yes, thank you. So I've been working with Jerome since Orleans Public Defenders was appointed back in March. And I just wanted to note a few things. A lot of this has been covered already by others. But as you noted, Mr. Walton was arrested back in December on a parole warrant. There weren't any new charges. When he was taken to jail, he was taken to municipal court, and it turns out he had something from like a traffic violation from 2013, but both those things had been null prost before I met him. But as of now, Mr. Walton has been in Orleans Justice Center for about 5.5 months. And I think, as we've heard, he's really tried to make the best use of his time. And so, as Ms. Kong noted, he's been pretty active in trying to seek out services while in jail. Both he sought out services through the municipal court that they were offering, and also through a social worker at the jail. He's spent time taking advantage of the relatively limited resources that the jail provides him for bettering himself. There's about 29 classes that he's taken on his tablet. There were classes like 12 Steps to Recovery, Adapting to Change, Managing Stress, but also things like computer basics and job readiness. And also, as Ms. Kong noted, Mr. Walton was, due to his behavior, his good behavior and his willingness to work, was rewarded with a job at the jail. And I actually have Lieutenant Glenn Powell's note that he sent me last week, and I'd like to read it if that's okay.
Okay.
He wrote, "Good morning. I'm texting you in reference to one of my inmate workers, Jerome Walton. He has been working with me about 3 months, and he's a pleasure to work with. Never complained and willing to learn. Always up, awaiting for me to pick him and the other guys up for work at night. A day of work starts for us at 12 midnight to about 10 in the morning. He had never stripped and waxed floors before, picked it up very fast. I'm texting you this because if this will help him with another proving to everyone that he is ready to do the right thing. I think he's ready. He's a good worker, and I hope everything works out for him, Lieutenant Glenn Powell." And so it sounds like the board believes this too, that even with all the motivation in the world, it's reentry is still incredibly difficult. And so that's why we wanted to make sure that all the services that Mr. Walton had sought out were there and could meet his specific needs right now and moving forward. And so you've already heard from everyone about what those plans might look like, but I just ask that you take that into consideration and vote not to revoke Mr. Walton. Thank you.
Very nice. Does anybody, does anybody else have any questions? How about you, Ms. Robinson? Okay. All right, Mr. Walton, in closing, do you have anything that you'd like to say to us quickly?
So I'm sorry that I had to meet you guys like this, and my apologies. My procedures and my acts was out of line, I would say, but I would like to say I would like to have another opportunity and success.
Okay. Well, it seems like there's a lot of people on your side too. And you're gonna need that. And look, you can't decide later, I don't need my medicine, because, you know, the brain is the most important part of your body next to your heart, and sometimes it just needs medicine. That's all we're talking about here. So never be ashamed of it, and don't not take it, because the brain obviously needs what it needs to work properly. So that's all we're talking about here is a medical issue, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So I'm prepared to vote, okay? Okay, so my vote today is do not revoke. And I'm going to recommend or say that you have to follow through with all the social services that we spoke about here today. First 72, the Public Defender's Office. And just in closing, I would like to thank Agent Fraud for coming and joining us. We're always very happy when somebody takes time out like that. So thank you so much. And then everybody else that spoke in your behalf. But you have a reentry program that is so wonderful and so crucial. I wish everybody had that. All right, so my vote today is do not revoke. Mr. Tillis?
My vote is also do not revoke.
And I do agree. I think the plan is solid, so my vote is do not revoke, but you must follow the plan laid out by the Public Defender's Office to include compliance with mental health treatment plan. Do you understand that, Mr. Walton?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. And Mr. I don't know if it's Mr. Farley or Ms. Long, would you forward us that reentry plan? I don't see it in our record. It'd be nice to include.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I believe it's in the packet that Mr. Farrelly has sent over, but we can send it again.
Please do.
I got an email from Miss Williams earlier this morning that she had forwarded it. We were a bit late with sending it, but yes.
Let me check. I just may need to refresh. I didn't see it, but if we don't have it, we'll reach back out.
Thanks, everybody.
This list be first. On this list be first, so I'm hoping first. But they popped up on us. Rachel.
All right, the Committee on Parole is now in St. Tammany Parish Jail, and I believe we have Mr. Anthony in front of us. Mr. Anthony,
Yes.
there you are. Tell us your name and DOC number, please.
Edward Anthony, DOC number 552869.
Yes, sir, that's what I have. So I see you have counsel this morning. Counsel, would you introduce yourself, please?
Yes, good morning. Rachel Yaz back on behalf of Mr. Anthony, who is present via Zoom.
Okay, thank you. So the way this will work, Mr. Anthony, I'll read the allegation against you and I ask you to enter a plea of guilty or not guilty, then we'll talk about it. Then we'll hear from your attorney before we reach a decision. Okay, you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you are accused of violating the conditions of your parole, specifically condition number 4. And it reads, you violated the conditions of your parole by your criminal activity evidenced by your arrest by the St. Tammany Parish Sheriff's Office, March 18, 2026, and being charged with distribution of Schedule 2 transactions involving proceeds from drug offenses, violation of a controlled dangerous substance within 2,000 feet of a school, and possession of drug paraphernalia. So how do you plead to violating condition number 4?
Not guilty.
Okay. Well, you want to tell us why you say that? Why that's your plea?
Should I let my counsel talk for me?
Well, if you want to define her, we'd be glad to hear from her. Go ahead.
If I could, yeah. So those charges are still pending. They were just accepted by the DA's office in St. Tammany. There were multiple people arrested on this matter. His arraignment, I'm about to check because they hadn't scheduled it yet. Let's see if we have a date. Looks like we still don't have a date on the arraignment. The charges were just filed on May 26th of this year. Clearly, I don't have discovery yet. This incident, he was arrested at his home, which, you know, there's other people in that neighborhood, that surrounding neighbors who were also arrested. You know, so not having discovery, I don't really want to disclose much just yet. But I think he does have some defenses, and you know, we're prepared to you know, fight the case once it gets on the docket. But at the moment, we don't have much information just yet, since it was just filed. So I would ask to continue the revocation today due to that. But obviously my client would request that a parole hold be lifted and allowing him to bond out. I do understand that the charges are still pending, you know, but obviously he's going to enter a plea of not guilty at the arraignment.
All right, so Mr. Anthony, your attorney has requested that this matter be continued until you work through the charges in court. You agree with that?
Yes, ma'am.
On advice of your attorney. Now, she also said that you would ask for bond. I'm not inclined to do that today. So my vote today, based on your and your attorney's request, is to continue this matter until you resolve the pending charges. Mr. Taylor.
My vote also is to continue.
And I concur.
All right, so we're gonna continue. We'll see you again. Good luck in court.
Thank you so much.
Right, that's it. We'll put you on the bench on the Friday, it's not.
Hey, good afternoon. Are we okay to speak?
Hey,
Jane,
how you doing, Chris? How you doing, sis?
All right, good morning, Mr. Chatelain.
Good morning.
Would you introduce yourself? Tell us your name and your C number.
Shane Chatelain. My DOC number is 511548.
Right, and you have counsel this morning. Ms. Yazbek, would you introduce yourself?
Yes, good morning again. Rachel Yazbek on behalf of Mr. Chatelain. He is also present via Zoom.
Thank you. We have your employer, Christopher Combs, your sister, Carolina Dufresne, participating also by Zoom, and we have your parole officer, Daniel Abady, who's on Zoom also. So first, the way this works, Mr. Chatelain, I'm going to read the allegation, ask you to enter a plea. You can ask your attorney to do that for you. But after the plea is in, we'll have a discussion. We'll hear from your parole officer and the folks that are here that want to speak on your behalf, and we'll ask your attorney to close it out for us. Right? So you're accused of violating the conditions of your parole. It's specifically condition number 4, and it states you failed to refrain from criminal activity, which is evidenced by your arrest on December 5th, 2025 by St. Tammany Parish Sheriff's Office and charged with domestic abuse battery with strangulation. On March 18, 2026, you pled guilty to the reduced charge of disturbing the peace, and you were sentenced to serve 90 days in the parish jail. So how do you plead to violating condition number 4?
Not guilty.
Okay. The next one is condition number 10. It has to do with your fees. You have failed to pay your supervision fees, evidenced by your total arrearage of $2,268 as of March 18, 2026. How do you plead?
Guilty.
Okay. So you, and Ms. Yazbek, you can jump in anytime you want. You pled not guilty to violating condition number 4, which has to do with your involvement in criminal activity, but yet you pled guilty in court to a reduced charge of disturbing the peace. Why don't you tell us what happened in December?
If I could jump in on this. So his live-in girlfriend was the one that had called the police against him. She later recanted numerous times through emails and statements. She's called the DA's office. It just, we had to sit down and talk with Colin Sims about this matter. And ultimately, they decided to dramatically reduce it from where it was. She basically stated that she has a substance abuse problem, and then shortly after that had gone into an inpatient rehab, and was living in sober living when she contacted me. And, that's part of the problem, so that's a lot of the reason why they decided to reduce it, because of her statements and her saying she really didn't, she wasn't of sound mind when she made the original statements, to say the least. I was pushing and hoping they would just completely dismiss it. In most jurisdictions, it's very hard to do when it's a domestic. So I think as far as something that would make everyone happy, the result was just a disturbing the peace, which in most cases is a very low misdemeanor. The judge gave him credit for time served. He's been in jail since his date of arrest at this time. And I could tell you, he has a lot of support, and I'll let his boss and his sister speak on that. But he's been waiting patiently, hoping, not to be revoked after sitting for a charge that really he was not guilty of. And we just, came to a resolution on a, basically in most cases, which would be a ticket, disturbing the peace.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. So on that note, we will hear from those who are here. We'd first like to hear from Mr. Abady, the parole officer. Is there anything you want us to know?
Yes, ma'am. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can, just fine.
Okay. The two things I wanted to point out today was probable cause was found at the hearing, and we only go by the police report. At the time of the police report, statements were made in reference to Mr. Chatelain had began choking the victim. I believe it was almost, she possibly later on the follow-up with the detective about, trying to look at the date real quick, I didn't write that down. It'd been at least about a week later. Her story remained the same at that time as far as being choked by Mr. Chatelain. The deputy on scene did observe skin irritation and red marks underneath Miss Jackson's jawline on both sides of her neck. At the time, Mr. Chatelain was also observed to have a cut behind his left eye, beside his left eye, with a small knot on top of his head. Miss Jackson stated that happened while she was attempting to fight Mr. Chatelain off of him when he was choking her. Ultimately, the deputies listened to both stories on scene, and they deemed Mr. Chatelain to be the aggressor. So the other thing I want to make of note is we did receive a phone call from the victim on May 20, 2026. That was after we sent everything off to the parole board. The victim stated that she was coerced into signing a statement for the subject and his attorney regarding the new domestic abuse charges. She does have a protective order, and Mr. Chatelain's been contacting her from jail since February. We advised her to make a report with the law enforcement agency if he was violating the protective order, and told her about the hearing that was going to go on today. So that is a phone call we got from the victim after we sent everything to the parole board, in which her story, again, with us never changed. The only assumption I can come up with, and again, this is strictly assumption, is the DA's office originally billed him with domestic abuse battery involving strangulation, third offense. And maybe the amount of time he would back up on that charge would have been a reason for an affidavit to be filed or whatnot. But again, that's just my assumption. That's not anything I was told by anybody, other than the fact that it was billed as a third offense domestic abuse, where he's had 2 previous convictions of domestic abuse battery.
Thank you. We do show the previous history there also. So thank you. We appreciate you taking the time, Mr. Aberdeen, to speak to her. We'll move on to Ms. Dufresne, Mr. Chatelain's sister.
Hi, thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak today. My name is Carol Ann Dufresne. I'm Shane's sister. I'm not, I'll be honest, I've never done this before, so I'm not really sure what the rules are, what I can say or what I can't say. But I can tell you that, well, before I say anything, I will be honest and say that there have been times that where I would have been asked to do this and I would have said no. And today is not one of those times. Shane is completely sober, has been completely sober for quite a while. I believe with every piece of me that he should never have been in jail. I have met Miss Jackson on multiple occasions. She has been at my home. And while I am not an expert in any way, shape, or form, I can tell you that she is unstable, that she is not welcome at my home or around my son. I have actually looked into placing a protective order so she cannot enter my property or be around my family. She has a history of not telling the truth. She has a history of substance abuse. And while my brother is not perfect in any way, shape, or form, he never should have been in jail in the first place. What I want to speak about today is about hopefully his release. You know, Shane, if and when he is released, will have a extreme amount of support from myself, from my family, and from Chris, and I will let him speak to that in a minute. He will have a place to live, which for the purposes of this, I would prefer not to share because this is recorded live, but he will have a place to stay. He will have a full-time job. He will have a vehicle. He will have support. He should not be where he is. I believe that Amy was well aware of his criminal history. And look, he has a criminal history. Like, none of us can deny that, right? And I think that she knew what she was doing the day that he was arrested, that these allegations were made. Not a few hours later, she was draining his bank account. She was making purchases that were not authorized. She knew what she was doing. You know, there's a ton of evidence that, you know, and of course his attorney can speak to this, about her instability, about her character, if you will. And I'm mentioning that again, because I truly believe with every piece of me, he should not have been arrested in the first place. I am the head of school at a all-girl private Catholic school. My reputation is important to me. And I would not put myself or my reputation on the line if I did not believe that that was true. Again, there have been times that maybe I would not have done that for my brother. That is not one of these times. Prior to this arrest, Shane was working full time. He had a job with benefits, had a company vehicle, was spending almost every Sunday at my house with my family with all of the support, finally to the place 100% sober. And having this happen, he was on the right path and he was doing the right thing. And I know that if and when he is released, that will continue. With my support, with my husband's support, with my external family support, with my extended family support, with friends, he will have the support when he gets out. I'm not really sure what else I can say, but in looking at Shane's past criminal history, a lot of that was due to substance abuse and due to addiction. And that factor, that piece, is no longer in the picture. I do believe that he was in a bad situation with someone that he should not have been in a relationship with. He made a mistake in that regard. And I believe he knows that. I think we all know that. And he has been in jail since December 5th. Again, like his attorney mentioned, for something that is, you know, that the court decided is a traffic ticket. You know, based off of that, the call that she made to the parole officer, that is part of her manipulation. That's what she does. We have multiple messages, her, you know, trying to manipulate, saying things to Shane's daughter, was 14, 15 years old at the time. She's trying to do everything she can to manipulate the situation. And again, I think he was put in a situation that he should not have been put into, and is not guilty. And clearly the court has agreed not guilty of what she said. I want you to know that, again, when he is released, he will have my support. I have power of attorney over Shane. I, you know, will support him in any way, shape, or form possible. And I have no doubt that when he is released, he will pick right back up where he left off, with his sobriety, with his support, with his job, with his family. And that this person will be no longer in the picture.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Mr. Combs?
Hey, good morning, y'all. Thank you for allowing me this opportunity. Quick introduction of myself. My name's Chris Combs. I'm a lifelong St. Tammany resident. I'm the owner of CM Combs Construction, a commercial general contractor located in Madisonville. Also the father of 9 children, and I'm very active and involved in our local community. Besides being Shane's employer, I've known Shane since early childhood. We went to high school together, and I know Shane heart and soul, and he is a good man. So I'm here on his behalf to not only speak to his character, and as Carol Ann mentioned, there is a history that doesn't lie, but who he is as a person is a good person and a good man. And he was in a phenomenal situation before this fiasco, and he will immediately return to that situation the first day of freedom. He was working for me full time, and he will continue to work for me full time the day he gets out. He has a vehicle, full-time job, includes benefits. He's very good at what he does. A lot of my guys miss him, and they ask me pretty regularly, when Shane coming back. I have a vehicle for him. Carol Ann mentioned he has a place to stay. I have places he can stay as well. There's multiple options on that front for him. It's kind of short and to the point, but he's when he's free, he's gonna have all the support he could possibly need from me professionally and personally. I trust Shane wholeheartely. He's been in my mom's house. He's been at my house when it's just my kids there helping me out with stuff. Shane is a good man, despite what you may see on paper from his earlier trials in his life.
How long had he been working for you most recently?
A year. A year full time, but prior to that, he would do, spot jobs that I guess you would call it, I would sub out to him. And then we arrived at a situation where I had enough work to be able to put him on full time.
Okay. Good. Well, thank you for speaking with us today.
Certainly. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
All right. So Shane,
Yes,
how long you been sober?
I've been sober about a year and 8 months.
So what's the date? What's your sober date?
October
Of what year?
of 2024.
Okay. I asked that question because I in June of 24, I saw a positive drug screen.
Yes.
And then in September of 25, I see a negative drug screen. So I knew it was somewhere in between there.
Yes. I struggled at first when I had got out, and I got myself together, and I put myself in the Oxford house to sober living.
Saw that.
I was kind of iffy about doing it. So the first month, I was like, oh, I'm gonna give it a month. And then about a year later, I was a house president. So the sober living did a lot for me.
Good. So why are we here? Tell us why we're here today.
I'm not sure.
Everything, you have a history. Everybody's acknowledged you have a history. You're a fifth offender. You have previous domestic violence issues that are documented. And here we are today. And there were visible marks on the victim. And the fact that you've been contacting her from jail is very concerning to me.
I didn't contact her.
Yeah, so has been contacting him at the jail, and he has not responded. Like, she's been using the email system, and also to speak to the fact that she was coerced by me. I take that allegation very seriously, and I have mounds of proof from her contacting my personal cell, which I still don't know how she got that number, sending me all these messages about how she wants these charges dropped. She wants Shane home, sending me pictures of them. It's mounds and mounds of evidence of her saying she wanted him out, and her calling the DA's office incessantly. So now that she's saying that, I think from my understanding, it's because Shane was not contacting her back. So she's upset that he doesn't want to be with her when he's released. So just full disclosure. So that's,
Okay. So Shane,
Yes.
how do you manage your sobriety? Is there anything special you do after living in sober living for a while? I mean, do you?
Yeah,
do
I go to meetings. I try to go to AA meetings. It's, at least once a week.
And you do that, or you say you try? Now, do you do it?
No, I do it at least once a week. I'll go. If I have more time, I'll do it more than one meeting.
All right. I don't have any
I got a
particular
question.
questions.
Mr. Shane, did you strangle her?
No, sir, I did not.
Where did the marks come from?
I have no clue.
Why would she say that you did?
Because she has mental illness.
On the parole officer's reports shows scars and you had a scratch also.
Yeah, she had attacked me. I was going to leave. She started with her yelling and just saying things that I just didn't want to deal with, and I told her I was going to leave. And as I was getting my things together, she jumped on me.
And okay, I have no more questions.
I do. Okay, so I'm gonna follow up because this is so very, very serious. Domestic violence with strangulation, because it increases the possibility and probability of death by 10%, by 10 times, not 10%, 10 times. And Louisiana is one of the states that leads the nation in domestic violence death. So the injuries were consistent with someone, she said, had her in a chokehold. And she did admit to police, which most of the time women will, trying to get loose of something like that. And it's something that is commonly used in domestic violence situations for power and control, because it's the last thing that a person is willing to do to another, or they're willing to kill them. That's what makes it so serious.
Yes, ma'am.
That's why, I mean, you're being asked these questions, because myself personally, I'm so very concerned about the fact that the injuries were consistent with something like that happening. You say, don't know.
Well, I wasn't aware of any injuries because I was outside with the other officer. She was inside. I was outside for at least 30 minutes before they pulled up.
Okay.
I also called 911.
You did?
Yes.
What'd
And
you
I
tell
also made a statement, but none of that was noted for some reason.
What'd you tell 911? Because that's taped.
What's that?
When you call in 911, almost everybody that they take that. I'm sure St. Tammany does too.
Oh,
What
it's
did
there. I don't know why it wasn't brought
I'm
forward.
just asking, what did you tell them? What did you call in and say?
I told them what happened and I was trying to leave. And that she attacked me and I was tired of dealing with it.
Okay.
And she was acting irate. She was inside also on the I guess another line with 911.
Okay.
And I can add to that.
She called them and told them I tried to break her neck.
Yeah.
I mean, she's 100 pounds. She's not healthy. I'm 200 pounds. I mean, that just, it's not possible that.
I can say that St. Tammany, they definitely investigated this. They don't take reducing domestics lightly. It's very, very difficult for them to drop something from a third, domestic strangulation to a disturbing the peace. That is very unlikely. So I would just, note that to the board, that they rarely ever do that. And I think it was warranted, obviously. She didn't go seek any medical treatment. I mean, she claimed, and their cops were saying that there were some marks on her neck. There was nothing so egregious. I think it was just marks potentially, which could have been anything really, not injuries. So I just want to clarify, for the record, she did this. And now that he's about to get, the ex-girlfriend wants to have him around and he's not responding, we're getting some negative feedback from her, obviously. But I think he will maintain a path of sobriety. He has a full-time job when he gets out and a place to stay. And, I think he'll, be a productive member of society at this point.
Thank you.
All right,
If I can, Mo, if we're all making final statements or whatever, I just want to clarify. It was noted in the police report that both parties did call the police. So I don't want there to be any confusion on that. It is in the police report. So again, I just want to note that part because just to be fair on all sides. However, I think the big question that we had as probation and parole is she stated why the marks were on her. Mr. CHATELAIN stated why the marks were on him. She stated, yes, that's why he has a mark because I fought myself off, but we still don't know why she had marks other than what's stated in the police report, which was that he choked her and she fought him off. So I think that's our issue with the situation. He had previous drug use we didn't bring up because he has been sober for a year. He was living in an Oxford house or whatnot. Apparently, a concerning issue is he was sober when this incident happened, so we can't blame it on anything. But the story with the preliminary hearing, what was stated, and then the story that was on scene does alter a little bit, whether or not there was an argument over one of the dogs, which wasn't stated in the preliminary hearing. He just said he was trying to leave. So again, no, we weren't there. We don't know. We can only go off the police report and the preliminary hearing that we had.
sorry, thank you so much. We sure appreciate your input. I'd like a executive session.
I'll second.
Can you call the roll?
Tillis,
Yes.
Ferguson,
Yes.
Renats.
Yes. Stand by. We'll be in executive session for just a couple moments. All right, we're back in regular session. It's 11:40. So, Mr. CHATELAIN, I'm prepared to vote. I've listened to everything that was said by everybody, you included, and I've looked at your history. I've looked at the record that was presented to consider this case. And I could tell when I asked you about how long you've been sober and, you were the, whatever you called it, the leader at the sober living house. I believe you. And I believe that that's the path you want to follow. I have a little concern about your history of domestic abuse, but I see you have tremendous support by your family, your employer, and the fact that you actually called 911 also speaks to me. My vote today would, and I know you're probably not in any relationship at this point, but my vote would be do not revoke. Require that you enroll in a domestic violence prevention program. That's an extensive class that you have to enroll in and complete, and further add the special condition you're to have no contact whatsoever with the victim or her family in this particular case. That's my vote. I'm just one. Mr. Tillis.
My vote's going to be to revoke.
Mrs. Stapleton.
And my vote is gonna be to revoke, due to the domestic violence, strangulation, and you have a previous criminal history of that. And that is something that I consider extremely deadly.
All right, you didn't get what you needed today. You got a favorable vote, but you got two that were not favorable. Requires a 2/3 vote. So today, sorry, your parole is being revoked. Good luck to you.
Shane, can you?
I'll call you.
Do that or what?
Hi, Mr. Robinson. Good morning.
Good morning.
Still morning, yes. To introduce yourself, tell us your name and DOC number.
I hear you, ma'am.
Would you tell us your name and your DOC number?
DURRELL Robinson, DOC number 07.
I didn't use that DOC number in so long, ma'am.
Okay, so wait, I'm gonna put a form up on the screen, and I'm gonna ask you if you recognize your signature on the form, and you can tell me if that's your DOC number. Okay, you see that? It's got your name at the top. And you see that DOC number? Wait, go up to the top.
I don't have my glasses, ma'am. I got a copy of it right here.
Okay.
472663.
Yeah, that's your DOC number?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and at the bottom of that page is your name. Did you sign that paper April 9th of this year?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, based on the information contained on that form, Mr. Robinson, you're not eligible for us to appoint you a lawyer. So you're ready to proceed today without one?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so let me just acknowledge real quick before we start with the allegations. We're gonna, your girlfriend is Asia Lewis here, and a coworker, Zell, who is with Miss Lewis, want to speak on your behalf. And we also have two parole officers here who want to give us some information, Daniel Abity and Mr. Steve Ever. So we'll hear from them shortly. But first, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Tillis. He's going to read the allegations and take your plea.
Good morning, Mr. Robinson. How are you?
Good morning. I'm all right, sir.
Good. We have some rule violations I'm going to read to you. You can answer guilty, not guilty, or with a statement. Rule number 4. You engaged in criminal activities when you committed the offense of LRS 115-561, failure to comply with the provisions of supervised release, 5 counts, and Louisiana RS 1491, unlawful use of social networking, 1 count, as evident by your arrest on 3/13/2026 by agents from the Covington District Office of Probation's parole, and who charge you with the foreman, what is that? Act, say again? Pronounce that word for me.
Aforementioned charges.
Okay, foreman charges. How do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or with a statement?
I plead not guilty, sir.
You want to make a statement on it? You want to make a statement on it?
Meaning what, meaning what?
Explain it. Explain your plea.
Explain my plea?
Your plea. Why did you plead that way?
Why did I plead that way?
Mhm.
Because a tragedy had happened, and I'm sorry in a way, and I'm not sorry, ma'am, because my granddaughter, had passed away, and I had got that call, and I told my son them, whenever they get things together, give me a call. And the day y'all see all of these addresses and where my whereabouts, it was the day that they called me for the funeral. I went to the funeral and they had no knowledge of what these areas was around, the church or none of that. And I was just being a supportive father for my son. I didn't mean no harm. This type of situation was going to break out, but on that, I can say that I'm sorry, sir.
Okay, thank you so much. Rule number 10, you last made a payment toward your supervision fee on 9/24/25 and are currently $980 in the arrear on the said fee. How do you plead? Guilty, not guilty?
I paid I paid like $100 and something on it, and they had got in contact with me through a couple of months. They got in contact with me, and I spoke with them, and I told them of the process with the money wise, and they told me whenever you get something, you could put something towards it.
Okay, thank you so much. Violation number 13, special conditions. According to the section 4 subsection 1 of the sexual offender contract you signed on 10/14/24, you are prohibited from going in, on, or within 1,000 feet of a day care center, group home, resident home, or child care facility as defined in RS 46, a family child daycare home, or defined in RS 46, playground, public or private youth centers, public swimming pools, or freestanding video arcade facilities. How do you plead?
Not guilty. That what I would basically explain to you when we met down at our mother and we went to the church, and they say something was closer to the church that I didn't have no knowledge of. And when we went to the burial site, when we returned in, I realized there was a city park across the street across the street from it. But it wasn't not even 20 minutes before we said what they said the little prayer, and we had left it. You know, I didn't go out there, no playground, you know, no school and nothing. Basically, the funeral was on a Sunday. And I had got in contact with the courthouse, and I spoke to Deputy Spurs over there about Cook, where your registration, where you do all that at. And I spoke with him, and I was asking, I was like, you know, my grandbaby passed away, and I wanted to ask you, you know, hey, can I go to the funeral? And she said it was okay with their office. So I'm thinking everything was okay. So I goes down there that Sunday, and then Monday morning I goes to work, and that Tuesday I woke up, I had a monitor on my own, came off. So I went and woke my fiance up, and I told her, I said, babe, I said, look, my watch off. So I went to work. So she called at about 12 o'clock or something like that, and spoke to my boss man. And she was like, is you gonna go down there and get that fixed? So what I did, I called my ride, and I came down here to probation and parole. And when I went in there, I asked to speak to, I seen Mr. Danny Abbott, his boss man. I asked about Danny, and Steve, you know, my parole officer, come outside, and he told me come in. And that was and I was arrested that day.
Okay,
for what reason, sir, I don't know, you know.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I don't be in no trouble.
Okay, we're gonna hear from your PNP agents. Mr. Danny, can you enlighten us on some of this?
Yes, sir. If you don't mind, Supervising Agent Everly, maybe he should go first, and then I will.
All right, that's good.
Okay.
Steve?
Y'all hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. On 10/11/24, Durrell Robinson was released from incarceration onto good time parole supervision for possession with the intent to distribute cocaine and possession of cocaine, and sex offender failure to comply with the supervised release conditions. He was already on supervised release for a previous sex charge, indecent behavior with a juvenile, where the victim was 11 years old, and 2 counts of possession of cocaine. As a condition of his sex offender contract, Mr. Robinson signed on 10/14/24. He is prohibited from going in, on, or within 1,000 feet of a daycare center, group home, residential home, child care facility, playground, or public or private use center, public swimming pool, freestanding video arcade, or freestanding video arcade. On 3/6/26, Mr. Robinson's girlfriend was located at the residence and Mr. Robinson was at work on Shen Drive, and she stated Mr. Robinson needed a travel permit to go to New Orleans for 2 days. She said she could get him down to New Orleans on Saturday, but his could not get him back till Sunday. She stated his 1-year-old granddaughter had died and he needed to attend the funeral. Due to Mr. Robinson's sex offender status, where the victim was 11 years old, it is unlawful for him to be present with any children, and the likelihood that there would be children at the funeral, Mr. Robinson was told he could not attend the funeral. Now, I say he was told that. I was dealing with another issue right down the street, and the girlfriend, Monica Lewis, came down the street with her cell phone in her hand. She said, "Here's Durrell Robinson right here." And he was on speakerphone. And I said, "I can't deal with it right now." I said, "Tell him he cannot go to the funeral." So she got mad and left. Later on, she come down the street and I heard her, it was very loud. She said, they can't, she was obviously talking to Mr. Robinson because she stated, they can't tell you, you can't go to that effing funeral. What if it was their children? They would want to go to that funeral. It was, I looked at his electronic monitor and it was discovered by electronic monitor that on 2/28/26 and 3/7/26, he traveled to New Orleans where he spent a significant amount of time within 1,000 feet of prohibited entities. He was by the city park, the Lakeview Playground, the Sam Bonart Playground, and 2 public baseball diamonds. These constitute major violations of a sex offender contract. On 3/10, Mr. Robinson reported to the district office where he was placed under arrest for parole violations. A manual review of his cell phone was completed, and it was discovered that on 3/7/26, he had contact with minor children, which was verified by the pictures on his cell phone from the funeral, where he was. There was 9 photos attached, should have been attached to the packet that was sent. One photo showed him with 4 other males and a young child, where they took a picture together, and another one with the child present in the photo. On 3/13/26, Mr. Robinson was charged with, by this agent, and 5 counts of failure to comply with provisions of supervised release, and 1 count of unlawful use of social networking. He had a TikTok app on his phone.
No.
On 4/28, he was billed with 3 counts of failure to comply with the provision of supervised release and 1 count of unlawful use of social networking. These charges are pending under St. Tammany docket 2346F 2026. And finally, in the 20 months that Mr. Robinson has been on parole supervision, he has only made 1 payment to his supervision fees, that being a $100 payment on 9/24/25, and is currently on $980 in arrears on said fees at the time of this notice of preliminary hearing paperwork. He was told numerous times to pay his fees every time I see him. When I leave, I say, pay your fees and mind your contract. I tell them all in group, I say, you need to get your contract out, reread the contract, because you forget things. I tell them that, and these are major violations of a sex offender contract. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We appreciate your work.
Serious.
Daniel?
In summary, you know, he's on for supervised release due to the sex offense or whatnot. However, he's also only on parole for failure to register. Okay, just to clear that matter up. So we had a dual supervision on Mr. Durrell. We had the supervisor as a sex offender for the supervised release, but his parole conditions are only for failure to register, a non-sex crime. So there was an unfortunate situation with the death of his grandchild. Mr. Everly called me and advised me that they wanted to travel down there. I said, well, I don't think it's a good idea because number one, he can't get a travel pass through his fiance. Number two, there's probably going to be a likelihood of a lot of children down there. Number three, I do understand that that's a grandchild, but it's probably a grandchild he should have never met because he's been on supervised release since 2010. Although the father of the child, his son, being there for them and everything else. We did find out at a later time that he did travel to the funeral. It was within some prohibited entities. Me and Agent Everly spoke about it. Mr. Robinson came to the office for an ankle monitor issue a few days later. And I just want it to be known that our intent at that time was to speak with Mr. Robinson, to let him know that he went where he shouldn't have went, why he shouldn't have been there. And he probably would have left with either an admin sanction or verbal reprimand, whatever the case was.
Thank you.
The totality of the circumstances that happened once he got to the office, which I don't know if it was in Agent Everly's document that he produced for y'all. There was a positive admittance to drug use. That opened the door to a search of his cell phone, which there were some things located. That opened the door to, that there was the places that he was where he wasn't supposed to be within a prohibited entity. However, we weren't going to go down to New Orleans and charge him with unlawful presence or any of that stuff down there. It actually kind of blew up on the office visit. So again, my intent, Agent Everly's intent that day was to verbal reprimand, maybe an admin sanction. Let's tell him you got to do better than this. We got to know where you're going, all this kind of stuff. Do it the right way. However, it kind of blew up after that, which did result in failure to comply with supervised release felony charges that are pending based upon the things that Mr. Everly outlined previously. So one of the issues we have before us today is the fact that there are pending felony charges on Mr. Durrell, other than the other things that kind of coincide with the supervised release supervision stuff that we were dealing with. So there may be some question later that we need to answer on that if it's not very clear for some people.
Thank you so much. We'll hear from his girlfriend. Ms. Lewis.
Hello?
Yes,
Okay, y'all can hear me?
we can hear you.
How you doing? My name is Monica Lewis. Asia Lewis is my daughter who I use the phone to connect on with you guys. So, that Friday before the funeral, I was talking to our landlord, Mr. Pargy, about, he asked me how Mr. Robinson was doing. And I said, he's not doing too good. I said, he wants to go to the funeral. And I said, that Friday, that Saturday, and that Sunday, I never once asked Steve, can he have a pass because he's in New Orleans. New Orleans is only 20 minutes away from where we stay. Never asked. I never talked to Mr. Steve. I never asked him for a pass. I never left the scene or where I was talking to him at and saying that he's an effing lie or anything like that. Why does Darrell have to do this, that? No, sir, I haven't. So he was asking me how was Darrell doing, and I told him, I said he wants to go up there. I said, but him having this, that, or whatever. Mr. Robinson, I told him to call Miss Cook office, and he did. He never asked Steve, could he go? No, sir. Steve never told him nothing, and Steve never told me nothing. So with all that allegation, that is wrong. And the picture that he took, that was his three sons. They're old. One was 19, one was I think 28, and the other one was 30. The child that was in the picture is his grandbaby. His son, the one that baby has passed away, that is his son that's standing on his left side. Darrell is on the right side of his son. He had no clue that I even took that picture. So all the allegations that Mr. Ebony is saying, Mr. Steve is saying on him, that is wrong. That is wrong. And it's not right to sit there and lie on someone. Like I have no clue. I have nothing else to say. Thank y'all.
Thank you so much. We'd like to hear from his coworker, Zale. He's on Zoom. He's not.
He's supposed to be the car with Monica.
Oh,
Okay, Mr. Sell, he had to go back to work, and I told him to try to get on the Zoom on his telephone, but Mr. Sell is the man that works with him. His boss man is Mr. Gabe, and Mr. Sell is the man that works. I think he's on it now. Okay, he's on it now.
he's on. You say he's on?
He has to unmute.
Can you unmute your mic, please? Okay, he's not on, so we're gonna move on. Mr. Robinson, you have something you want to say?
Yes, sir. And when I went down and I asked to speak to Danny, and when Mr. Steve come out, before he asked where my phone was at, I told him it was in the truck with the ride that I called down there by here. And when he grabbed the phone, I gave him my password. And I told him before you look inside of my phone, I said, I have a picture that me and my oldest boys took. And I said, my grandchild was nowhere around, but I guess he was looking for his father. So when the picture was snapped, he hadn't grabbed a hold to his daddy leg and the picture was snapped. And I told him before he ever looked inside of this phone. I've been head up with Mr. Steve since day one. I'm not that type of person to go out there and cut up and do all these violations. I was just only being a supportive father for my child that needed me at that time. But other than that, I'm working 7 o'clock in the morning to 7 at night. Only thing I do is come home. I don't have no time for myself to take a shower. Hey, eat and sleep. I'm up 5, 6 o'clock in the morning going back to work. Boys running back and forth to New Orleans and back and forth like that there. That's something I don't do because I've tried my best to follow the stipulations.
Okay, did you ask his permission to leave town?
But I did not speak to Mr. Steve at all.
Who did you?
The situation that was taking place that Friday when the landlord was speaking to my fiance, no, we was not on the phone. And she did not, it's not her job to tell me what he said. Is basically his job. And it was that Friday, early during the day, I never got no phone call from him. I understand he off on a Saturday.
Did you ask permission for him? Did you ask him for permission to go to New Orleans?
No, sir, I'm guilty of that.
Okay, all right. Any of my colleagues have any questions?
No.
Yes.
Mr. Zale is there.
Mr. Zale? Mr. Zale, are you there? Oh, there he is. Mr. Zale?
Is there anything you'd like to say, Mr. Zale? I think you might just be observing.
And all thing I ask, y'all have, give me another chance, you know, that's all I could ask.
My colleagues got any questions? I'm ready to vote.
All right, Mr. Tillis.
My vote, well, today, my vote's gonna be, revoke for violation number 4, 10. No, I'm sorry, 4 and 13.
Ms. Stapleton.
I concur with Mr. Tillis.
Mr. Robinson, my vote today, based on the serious violation of your sex offender contract, is to revoke your parole. Up to you, sir.
Hello.
Damn.
I ask you, I'm signing the form like this, which is yours. They'll show it to you on the screen, but you can't see it back on. Yes.
All right, Mr. Stacklin.
Yes, ma'am.
Afternoon, sir.
Afternoon.
So would you, for the record, sir, state your name and your DOC number?
Bruce Stacklin,
744-619.
All right, sir, and let me just recognize that we have your parole officer here, Mr. Howell. We'll hear from him shortly. We're here for a revocation decision. Do you have any paperwork there with you?
No, ma'am.
Okay, we're gonna put a form up on the screen. I need you to confirm that that's your signature at the bottom of the page. You see that at the bottom, dated April 7th. Is that your signature?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Based on the information contained in that form, it was determined you're not eligible for us to appoint you a lawyer. So are you ready to proceed without a lawyer?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Your case has been assigned to Mr. Tillis. Were you expecting? No, I'm sorry. I'll turn it over to him.
Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm okay.
I'm going to read some violations and you can plead guilty, not guilty, or with a statement. Rule number 4, on 3/19/2026, you were arrested by the STPSO and charged with obscenity, disturbing the peace by being intoxicated, and simple obstruction on a highway. How do you plead?
Not guilty.
Okay, tell us about it. Explain why you're pleading not guilty, please.
I was at a bar. I was drinking and I tried to I don't remember much of it. I took something from over the counter from a head shop. And then I remember being arrested, and it wasn't by the sheriff's office, it was by Mandeville Police.
Tammany Police Department?
Yes.
That's what I said.
Oh, I thought you said the St. Tammany Parish Sheriff's Office.
No, St. Tammany, St. Tammany. Yeah, it does say, I guess, Sheriff's Office. I'm sorry. Okay, thank you for that correction. St. Tammany Police. What is that?
Said to, yeah, I said to the STSO.
We can ask the officer to explain it.
Okay. Are you finished with your statement?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we're gonna hear from your P&P officer now at this time. Mr. Howell?
Yes, sir.
Good. Can you enlighten us on this situation, please?
Yes, I reported to the office one morning and I had an arrest notification saying that Mr. Stacklin had been arrested by the St. Tammany Parish Sheriff's Office, and he was charged with the charges that you had just read. I've also obtained a report from the St. Tammany Parish Sheriff's Office that stated that they were the ones who arrested him and they were assisting Mandeville Police Department.
Okay. Thank you so much. Okay, Mr. Bruce, is that okay with you, what you just heard?
Yes, sir.
And you say you're not guilty of obscenity, disturbing the peace, and being intoxicated?
Disturbing the peace, maybe. And the public intoxication, yes.
Okay. Any of my colleagues have any questions?
You just don't remember what happened, do you?
No, ma'am, not completely.
Well, no, I don't have any other questions. I think we're prepared to vote. Mr. Howell, is there any other information you want us to know?
I can shed a little light on the obscenity if y'all would like me to, just based off of the report.
Sure.
Thank you.
The report had stated that Mr. Stacklin was out in traffic on Florida Boulevard in Mandeville, and he was exposing his genitals to traffic that was passing by. When the female deputy arrived on scene, it stated he had attempted to pull his genitals out while facing her, and he ultimately did not because she had put the taser on him. And then it also had stated that once medical personnel, fire department, and the ambulance had arrived, he was attempting to pull it out again while they were trying to assist him.
Okay, thank you, sir. We
Thank you.
appreciate that.
Thank
Ready to
you.
go?
Yes.
Mr. Tillis?
Mr. Stacklin, my vote today is going to be revoke for rule number 4.
Mrs. Stapleton?
My vote today is to revoke for rule number 4, violation of rule number 4.
All right, I too find you guilty of violating your conditions, Mr. Stacklin, so my vote today is going to be to revoke. I do hope maybe there's some kind of program there that you can get involved with to help you with the substance abuse issue. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you.
He's cool.